Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special Pro Soccer Talk Live as we focus on the massive Liverpool against Manchester United clash at Anfield. I'm your host, Joe Prince-Wright. Delighted to say, as always, I'm joined by Nick Mendola in Buffalo, New York, and Andy Edwards in Kansas City. I'm over here in England and lands in the northwest of England. A titanic battle between Liverpool and Man United always seems to deliver drama. Nick, what are you looking forward to in this game? Because Liverpool back in the top four hunt, Man United potentially in the title hunt. So this is exciting. It always is, but there's extra kind of spice around this game today, isn't there?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm looking forward to the fights. Not the real fights, of course, but, you got to be careful when you talk about that. But Casemiro and Varane going up against Liverpool, I've been waiting for this for quite a while. I think I mentioned it in midweek. It's something about that rivalry moving from Real Madrid to the other team that they really, really hate. And as much as we've gotten used to Man City, Liverpool being the game we circle on our schedule, this one's got a lot more juice historically.
Absolutely. And Andy, as we see the teams in the tunnel, Liverpool in their famous red kit and United in their away kit of the white shirts, the few handshakes there between players who know each other really well from the national teams. But this is going to be very feisty, right? There's a lot of respect, but also so much atmosphere between these two teams historically, like Nick said. And when we look at where they're at right now, this is a pivotal game for both teams in their season.
Yeah, it feels like we've kind of got two teams passing one another in the night, going in opposite directions. Liverpool coming down from the highs of recent years and slipping down to mid-table, while United kind of jumping back up into the elites of the Premier League, if you will. We haven't had a matchup between these two teams where it felt like even footing for quite a while. It's been very imbalanced. One team has always been on top, and one team has kind of been down in the doldrums. And so I kind of feel like this could be a game that reignites a bit more of that rivalry and brings it back. Because if you just kind of look through the teams, none of these players have real, animosity towards the other club. There just hasn't been that kind of really important fixture between these two teams for a few years now. And so it feels like Liverpool, out of a little bit of desperation, and Manchester United out of trying to establish dominance, I think, once again, not just over Liverpool in the rivalry, but within the Premier League as a whole. There's a little bit extra on the line for both these two teams today. And so I think it's going to be a little bit extra spicy. And to Nick's point, the fight, not the actual fight, but the fight, I think, is going to be tense. It should be a good one.
It really should. And Nick, as we look at the lineups that are scrolling on the screen at the bottom there, I just want to remind everyone you can watch this game on USA Network in the USA and on NBCSports.com as well. So pull up a stream. We'll have that in the comments section for you. You can see it's pinned to the live chat there. So just click on that link. You can watch along with us, have this up on one screen, the game up on another. But Nick, the lineups are quite interesting, I think, from Liverpool's perspective. They made a couple of changes, couple of tweaks to run through it there. Alisson in goal, back four of Alexander-Arnold, Konate, Van Dijk, and Robertson's come back in. Midfield, Henderson and Fabinho, a lot of experience there. And Harvey Elliott gets the nod after playing well in midweek. And then up top, Salah, Nunez and Gakpo, and that three in particular have fared pretty well in recent weeks, haven't they? Been stepping up at different times, and Jota's been coming in as well. But what do you think of that Liverpool lineup for this massive, massive game today?
I think it helps to have Konate back if you're going to play Alexander-Arnold against a guy who right now in Marcus Rashford has just feasts. And I don't remember where I read it. It might have been a tweet, could have been our NBC broadcast, but saying something along the lines of, if I'm Marcus Rashford, maybe I just hang up out there and say, go ahead, dude. You go up there and you do your crossing, because I'm going to be here and I'm just going to go score because you can't catch me. You can't defend me. You don't have a prayer. And that's the sort of swagger United has right now. In fact, pardon that expression, it might be more interesting if that back four read, Robertson, Van Dijk, Konate, prayers, because Rashford has been that good.
Yeah, and Alexander-Arnold said ahead of this game, right, how difficult it's going to be to shut down Rashford. But, he's had some practice over the years and some mixed results, shall we say, in this fixture. Rashford has fared well against Liverpool in the past. Andy, you look at Man United's lineup: De Gea, Diego Dallo, Varane, Martinez, Shaw, Casemiro, Fred in midfield, Bruno just ahead of them, and then Anthony, Weghorst, and Rashford. This kind of picks itself right now for Erik ten Hag, but he does have some good options on the bench as well to switch things up, especially from an attacking perspective.
Yeah, one of you said midweek, maybe Nick, just waiting for Anthony Martial to come back into this team and feel like it will just round off everything that Manchester United need at the moment. It does pick itself, but I don't think you want to pick Wout Weghorst every single game to put into this team because he really is just there, serves a purpose to hold the ball up, which is useful, especially with Marcus Rashford in the form that he is in cutting in from out wide. Antony obviously as well. And a set piece target, but it feels like that is the one area where United's still just a little bit weak, and they would like to have a bit of an upgrade in the lineup. But everything else, it does pick itself.
And we are underway at Anfield, so there's already a few arms flying in the air. A little bit of intrigue about a refereeing decision early on for a free kick. So just what we expected. And again, send in your questions in the comments. Let us know your score predictions, how you think it's going to play out. But we're inside the first minute at Anfield. Liverpool 0, Man United 0. Liverpool just knocking the ball around. Trent's gone for a long ball up towards Harvey Elliott. Gakpo's won it. Lovely little turn. Oh, feisty challenge there from Casemiro. Another one from Fred. Fred saying he definitely got the ball, but I think he got plenty of man on that one as well. So a couple of meaty challenges there from Man United's two Brazilian midfielders, Nick. And
I don't know. I'm waiting for the replay on that. I think that might have been a little bit of acting on Elliott, but yeah, this is what we signed up for. Those guys making those sorts of tackles.
Yeah, those are two battlers you want in the midfield in the heat of battle today, for sure. So Liverpool got a free kick about 40, 45 yards out. Inside right channel, we got Trent on the ball. I think Robertson's on it as well with his left peg. So we're going to see you're going to swing it into the box, but all the big men are up from the back. Van Dijk, Konate. It's Alexander-Arnold whips it in short, and Man United clear, but it comes back out to Alexander-Arnold down the right. Fred slips, whips it in again, and again, Lisandro Martinez clears it, and Man United clear the danger. But Liverpool, positive start for them. They're trying to get it forward early, Andy, and I don't know. This is going to be intriguing, right? In midfield today, in particular, with the control, the high pressing, we know that hasn't been working for Liverpool all season. So it's maybe just see how they can control the game a bit more rather than just being like a basketball game and back and forward for the entire 90 minutes.
Yeah, this is not the Liverpool team that we've gotten to know and really enjoyed watching over the last few years with the high press and the intensity that they play with. And I think you can already kind of see the way that they're playing out from the back with Alisson to Van Dijk. In fact, it's just a little bit slower, a little bit more methodical. I think they're trying to actually pull Manchester United out of their shape and force them to make that first move and then open up space for Liverpool to kind of play through, because they don't play around you the way that they have in recent seasons. It's not all about get the ball out wide and whip in all those crosses. So it's been an adjustment for someone that has to watch them and then try to understand what to make of this Liverpool team. And obviously for Jurgen Klopp, it's been a massively challenging season.
It has indeed, but a decent chance there for Elliott, I think it was. He just had a smash towards goal, blocked, and then they're looking for another long ball forward. So early doors, Liverpool much more positive. I see a comment there from Ella saying Rashford is going to get a hat-trick. I mean, that wouldn't be hard to believe, the kind of form he's been in recently, right, Nick? And it looks like at the moment he's lining up centrally with Weghorst playing underneath him, and the ball is played to Rashford as we talk, but it's overhit and Alisson collects. But Rashford, can you sum up the form he's in right now? Because it's obviously the form of his career, but I don't know if any of us really thought he is this clinical of a player. So he's kind of surprising everyone right now.
He is, and I think it's, if I may say this to the three of us, I think it's a little bit of a shame on us. I think we credit ourselves with an ability to analyze when the noise we're hearing about a player being down or out of form or whatever is nonsense. And I go back to, was it Ole who said, well, you know, right when Rashford was out there literally trying to get the government to feed children, and he was like, oh, he's got to worry about the on-field. Why didn't we all just say, relax, dude? Like, this is sports. I think he's always been there, and I just think he's got a coach now in Ten Hag who is encouraging him in the right ways. And again, Andy, we're going to have to get a shirt made with your face on that says grown-ups in the room.
Oh, Salah's through. Oh, the ball just kind of slipped away from him in the penalty box, and Fred is getting high fives from his teammates. He came across the cover, but Alisson, a long kick forward after a Man United free kick, came to nothing. Salah caused problems, but the ball just bobbled off his knee as he was trying to get the ball under control around 10 yards out from goal. But Bit of a warning there. Okay, Vita says Darwin is going to score the winner for Liverpool. All right, get your predictions coming in. There's a prediction there from Vita. A lot of you guys are asking, can you watch the game live? And yes, if you look at the comments section on the chat on the right, you can see the live stream link right there. Just click that. If you're in the USA, you can watch it live. And yeah, that's where you can watch it along with us. So, hey, let's see where everyone's watching from, right, lads? I think we've had some great countries over the last few times we've done these watch-alongs, people from all over the world interacting. So we love to see that in the comments. Obviously, I'm here in England. Nick's in Buffalo, New York. Andy Edwards is in the Midwest in Kansas City. So we've got, both sides of the Atlantic kind of covered here in one way or another. But yeah, so let's see where you guys are watching from, because I am really intrigued to see that. Daring says, I think it's going to be 3-1 Liverpool, 2 for Salah and 1 for Nunez. Very specific prediction there. John Springer is in Philly. My Union lost last night. They did. I saw that into Miami. But, Philly still seem like they have a good chance this season. Again, as Robertson whips in across, it's deflected out for a corner. So Liverpool chance here for the big lads to come up again. Jose De La Torre is in Portland, Oregon. Jador is in New York.
That's Phil Neville's unbeaten Inter Miami, guys.
That's right. He'll be watching intently.
He's watching right now. That's what.
Yeah.
All right, the corner's coming in. A lot of pushing and shoving in there. Van Dijk, Konate, the targets. Robertson, outswinger. Oh, Nunez got up 12 yards out, a free header, but it was a difficult one. He was already up a bit too early, it seemed. But Liverpool recycled the ball. Man United is struggling to get out at the moment, right, Andy? They haven't had too much of the ball, and maybe you'd expect this derby game, Liverpool at home, have to kind of put their foot on the accelerator a little bit to start with. But I don't know. Man United just kind of feeling their way into this game a bit.
Yeah, this is fine. Derby's always kind of like this, away from home, always kind of like this. And I think one of the biggest progressions that we have seen from United this season is there's a maturity about this team to kind of weather. This is not a storm. This is just weathering the start of the game away from Old Trafford. And we, for all the talk about, learning to kind of reassert their dominance and turning Old Trafford back into the theater of dreams. When you go away, you're still not on top of the world if you're Man United. And so just being able to get through this, I think, is just another feather in the cap for Ten Hag and how he has kind of change this team and help it to grow. Like, they're not just a better team this year. They have grown and matured in a lot of ways that United have desperately needed in recent seasons.
Can I go back to Joe? Can I go back to a comment Andy made earlier? And again, it's just 8 minutes into a game, but I'm still surprised at the run Weghorst is getting. I don't think even the role he's being asked to play, just square peg round hole stuff.
Oh, Liverpool coming down the right. Nunez to Elliott. Oh, they run into each other, but Nunez has got the ball in the box, tries to play it back to Henderson, but Fred once again snaps in with a tackle. But yeah, I think with Jadon Sancho obviously on the bench today, Garnacho, there's a lot of other options there in those forward areas, but it's kind of working, right, with Weghorst playing as the underneath striker. You wouldn't think about it, but the old cliche, he's got good feet for a big man, right? He said that about Peter Crouch a lot, and he's linking up play quite nicely, and then allows Rashford to run in behind. So I'm surprised by him. I really am surprised by him, but he's kind of taken the chance, right, Nick? I think he's not scoring, but it fits the system. I think that's probably why he's starting.
I see. That's the thing. I don't think he does. I think maybe he does, but he is a little bit of the. I don't know. There's some Dutch Chris Wondolowski to him, and he's got a knack for goal. And we watch him score now. By the way, as Man United's leading a rush.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had a shot from was that Fred?
Anthony, I think. Anthony, just a curler, low curler, and Allison pushed it wide of the post at the Kop end, but it's a corner to Manchester United.
But I just look at him and I think I look at where he scored, and I know he had his run at Wolfsburg and Besiktas, and he's been at a lot of he's never been at a club of this size, and I'll believe in him for this role when he starts consistently scoring for this team.
Yeah, I think he's stopgap solution, right? And he's done okay, but yeah, it's Man United obviously have someone else lined up to come in the summer. I think that's pretty clear for all to see, but he's enjoying it. He's enjoying this role while he can. Luke Shaw's on the left, whips in a cross. It's blocked by Harvey Elliott, and Man United coming back into it a little bit more. All right, got some more shout outs where people are score predicting and where they're watching from. Maria there says Manchester United 3, Liverpool 1. 2-0 for Liverpool, says Kennedy. We've got 3-0 for Man United, 3-0, 3-2 for Man United, 0-0, hopefully not. And there's a little bit more for us to talk about than that. And yeah, we've got some people watching from Seattle, all across the world. Oklahoma City, Robert Meadows there. Thanks so much for joining us. And yeah, there's remember, you got the stream there in the comments section is to watch in the USA on NBCSports.com. You can watch the game live as well as have us pulled up on the other screen to send us your question and hear our analysis. Talk about that analysis, Andy. What's your score prediction for this? I don't know if we gave one. Did we give one earlier this week when we recorded PST? So much has happened in the Premier League. I can't remember.
We did. I think I said 4-3. So I'm gonna need one of these teams. One of these teams to get on it. Preferably, I'd say Liverpool. Force United to have to chase a little bit more and open the game up away from home.
Nick, what was your score prediction?
I don't remember. I think 1-1. I think 1-1. If it wasn't, it should have been. It's what I've been telling most people. I just don't remember what I said when the cameras were rolling. The bright lights, Joe, they get me.
They get all of us. I think it was 2-2. I think it was 2-2 that I said as well. So yeah, we're expecting a lot of goals and. Yeah, like Andy said, we need one of the teams here to kind of step it up. But Man United, I think, will be happy enough to get to nearly 15 minutes level. Now they're starting to have a bit more of the ball, control of the game. Weghorst popping up in those little spaces. Anthony cutting inside. But Liverpool do a good job defensively, and it goes out for a goal kick. Van Dijk snapping into tackles, barking out at orders, and it looks like Van Dijk wants the Liverpool forwards there to kind of keep the ball a bit better, hold the ball up, and allow them to get these attacks further up the pitch. We've got 3-2 Liverpool, 3-1 United score predictions, 2-0 United score predictions. Al says, why is Liverpool so overrated? Andy, you want to take that question?
Are they? I feel like they're about properly rated, at least amongst the three of us this season. At least it's been a tough old season for Liverpool, and I think that's perfectly exemplified in the fact that Klopp has had to, go away from everything that we've ever known as Klopp ball. This is not a Jurgen Klopp team right now, and I think he's having to, try to work out a plan B on the fly in the middle of the season and realize, the importance of being in the top four at the end of the season, getting back into Champions League next, whether he's going to be the manager next season or not. It's almost unthinkable for Liverpool to not be a top four team because, again, coming into the season, it was supposed to be City, Liverpool, City, battling for the title once again. And for them to be down near mid-table as recently as a couple weeks ago, I think Liverpool have shown us exactly who they are this season. And if you choose not to believe it now at this point, after this much proof and this much evidence and this many just kind of subpar performances, then I think that's on you.
Absolutely. I just want to say in the comments, the link that is pinned in there is if you're in the USA, you're able to watch on NBCSports.com. So if you're based in the USA, that link works. If you live in the USA right now, so you can watch that game on the USA Network on TV and stream it on NBCSports.com. As Liverpool come in the attack, Salah's cutting inside on the right flank, curls it towards the far post, but high, wide, and not at all handsome there, Nick. But a good look for Salah. And we've seen him do that over the years, right? So.
He's Liverpool still, Joe. I mean, it's. I think the idea, we've all watched Darwin Núñez even in preseason. He's going to get there, but he's been so, like, if you want to be charitable, let's say unlucky, because I think he's putting in the work and he's obviously an explosive player. But team is still unfortunately all about Salah because no one in their midfield aside from Thiago can do anything with the ball. I think maybe I was a little early in predicting it by saying this about him last year. But Jordan Henderson looks so far off it now. He looks like a guy who should be playing 15, 20 minutes as an awesome impact. This is a Liverpool guy sub, but he just looks, their midfield is a mess. And that's probably why they're not where they are. I think they bet on getting one more year out of 4 or 5 players that they've gotten maybe a collective year out of together.
And I think they probably also thought when they spent what 70-80 million dollars on Naby Keita, they would get something out of him during his Liverpool career as well. If you think about that transfer and how much was made of that at the time, but what signed in January to arrive in the summer and kind of not revolutionize Liverpool, but drive them forward as like the perfectly fitting player to the system, and it just has not happened. They signed Arthur Melo as well to be kind of a bit part player. He's been out injured. It's been for all the issues that Liverpool have had that have been self-inflicted or just kind of bad squad building. Injuries have been a huge part of it as well.
Chance for Liverpool here though. Back post, Alexander-Arnold loops it in. There's a lot of chaos in the box. It's going to get a shot. Harvey Elliott shanks it, and it goes out of play for a goal kick. But a lot of chaos there from a Liverpool free kick on the left. And Man United looks pretty assured in recent weeks, defending with Varane, Casemiro, Lissandro Martinez back there. But they kind of got in each other's way there. Couldn't clear it properly, but Liverpool couldn't get a shot off. So, it's interesting. I mentioned a few of the names there, Nick, for the stars for Manchester United. I mean, has it been that defensive solidity with Casemiro in front of that solid back four? Has that been the reason why they've been on such a tear and just relentless, right? It's probably the best word to sum them up right now, and resolute probably as well.
Resolute. I like the word hunger here, and it's a hunger that doesn't go away. I mentioned before the game, Varane and Casemiro.
Efficient as well, right?
Yeah, there's something about this group that just craves winning. Everybody craves winning. I kind of hate when people talk about that in that way. But when you're used to winning trophies and you come from a place, and Ten Hag said after the League Cup game, honestly, for stretches of that game, they were on their heels pretty badly. But the people who were on their heels are comfortable being on their heels. Varane and Casemiro are used to being on their heels against Barcelona. So when they go into a League Cup game at Wembley against Newcastle, they're not as scared. They've been there on the international stage as well, whether it was Spain or France. Brazil or France, won World Cups. I just think they have guys who, Joe, I'm going to use one of your lines, been there, done that. Bought the T-shirt.
Got the T-shirt. Yeah, exactly. Man United on the ball, building an attack. Rashford tries to flick it around the corner to Fred, but just overhits it, and Alisson collects. And 17 minutes in now to this big rivalry game. Haven't really had a big chance yet to talk about. So I think that suits Manchester United pretty well. Though Alisson's doing a couple of Cruyff turns inside his 6-yard box there under pressure from Rashford, but clears it. But the ball does come to Rashford, edge of the box, to Weghorst, to Anthony. Can he get the cross in? Whips it in. Poor cross. Fabinho clears. And now Liverpool got a chance to build an attack. And Salah's flying forward. But Anthony dispossesses him. Salah works back, wins a free kick. So, that kind of passage of play there, Andy. It's a lot of midfield scrappiness, and just we're not seeing an awful lot of quality from either team right now, are we? Which, again, it's a derby game. Kind of happens.
Yeah, but this is fine for United. I think this is kind of how the midfield is set up. I think they can deal with this much better than Liverpool can, because the Liverpool midfield is somewhat handicapped. To Nick's point, Jordan Henderson, not the player that he's been. Harvey Elliott, a game of this level, I still have questions about him being in that team, and just so much responsibility is put onto him. And then on the other side, you've got Casemiro and Fred, who, in recent weeks and months, basically since they came back from the World Cup, I think have played about every single game together and just have a great working understanding and have been such a solid foundation. All jokes aside about Fred, they've been a solid foundation for this team to play forward and give Bruno, I think, the freedom that he needs to be at his best.
Absolutely. Liverpool in the box here. Harvey Elliott's trying to find Henderson. Little snapshot. Nunez.
Thought it was there, Joe.
Wide. He may have been offside. I'm not sure if he was offside, but the ball just bounced up at quite an awkward height, didn't it, Nick? And Nunez tried to wrap his foot around it, sliced across it a bit, and it flew wide of the far post. But, Liverpool they look the more likely to take the lead right now. They're just cranking through the gears a little bit. Salah's getting more involved, trying to wriggle free inside the penalty box, but that was a half decent chance there for Liverpool.
Yeah, listen, I saw that ball bouncing and I thought it was going in. I guess that's what I'm used to seeing from Liverpool, is kind of pulling that out of nothing, and it's going to happen with Nunez. I would put myself. I'm going to say myself at 85% confidence.
Good question there about Nunez. I mean, has he been effective to this Liverpool side? I mean, he has, right? He has given them something different, especially in recent weeks. But he just hasn't had the luck maybe with the finishing and the chances. As Rashford races clear of Van Dijk down the right flank, tries to whip it in, and Van Dijk clears it out for a corner. And Van Dijk's not happy with the lino there, giving him a bit of stick. But we just got a glimpse there about. We talk about Nunez maybe giving Liverpool an outlet, but Rashford certainly gives United one, doesn't he? But
yeah, on Nunez there, it's everything he's done for this team this season and tried to do he's doing it in a team that's not functioning properly at the moment. And so I think to look at him and say, well, he's been a bust or he's been a disappointment. I don't know that just bringing Sadio Mane back into this team and resuming where they were last season is any different than what it's looked like for Darwin Nunez. I think the issues for this team are spread all across the field, and he's probably one of the least problematic players in the team this season because you expect that from a player coming over at that age, at that price tag, and that kind of position into a league like the Premier League, that it's going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah, Joe, Andy makes a really good point. The one thing I keep pointing to, and you know I'm a numbers guy, and that can be annoying to people who don't like the advanced numbers. I get it. I don't want to bog people down with math, but he's their team leader in expected assists per 90. He's far and away the expected goals per 90 guy. He nearly has the same exact numbers as Salah in expected goals and assists total, despite playing, I believe, like 800 or 900 minutes less than him. He's a very good player.
Yeah, and as good as all that points for him, that's a real indictment on the rest of the team. And I think that makes my point exactly.
But I would like all the Liverpool fans who told me in the Community Shield that he was going to outscore Haaland by about 30, then I want that spirit here now. Because it was always going to be, we signed the right guy. That's the change we've seen with Liverpool this year. It's not that they didn't sign the right guy. The faith has been there with Liverpool that if Jurgen Klopp signs someone, it's going to work. And it probably should be the faith right now, but you're not hearing Liverpool fans say that right now because I think they're a little shaken. It's probably a little nervier than you want at Anfield usually.
Definitely. Oh, Trent's coming through now. He's racing through on goal. Robertson's to his left. The two fullbacks come on. Robertson's got a touch, cuts inside his right foot. Oh, Martinez blocks it with a header, but De Gea probably had it covered. A bit of a weak effort in the end. But just seeing their transition from Liverpool looks pretty sharp today on the counter. So Henderson plays it to the edge of the box. Gakpo turning to Harvey Elliott. He's wriggling around on the edge. Fred snapping in. Elliott somehow gets clear, clips it to the back stick. Nunez and Salah both there. United clear. Comes out to Robertson on the left flank to Elliott. Back to Robertson. Can he whip in a cross? He does. Good cross. Oh, over the bar from Nunez.
I think that's Lissandro might have got that.
Clearance. It looks like it was a clearance there for Martinez, but what a clearance. But what a cross from Robertson there. And wow, a brilliant chance for Liverpool. Inside the 6-yard box, the cross dropped.
Yeah.
Nunez had it on target. But all flicked off Martinez's ball.
Both got a piece of it, I think.
Yeah, they're starting to play a lot quicker now. One touch stuff and moving into space the way that they weren't. And they're starting to pull United out of shape a little bit. And we've not seen a lot of that from United in recent weeks.
If that service is a bit higher, you see the criticism earlier in the year, although Martinez has backed it up, was going to be that he was too small to match up with Nunez and guys like that.
Yeah, corner comes in. Robbo whips it in. Cleared by Casemiro, of course. The ball, Bruno is going to see it out for a United throw-in. But, yeah, this is interesting. All right, some good questions coming. John Springett's got one in. How hard is it to get a ticket to this match? You know what, John? Luckily enough, I've been to this game over the years quite a few times. In the press box, of course, but I've bumped into a lot of American fans in and around Anfield, be it on the way on the train to and from Liverpool. And they've told me about how they plan, as long as you can plan 5 or 6 months ahead. And Andy and Nick have both been over to England as well. It can be done, and there is a package that you can sign up for with different websites. That, if you plan ahead and you have flexibility, it can happen. And of course, the other issue is they change the kickoff time sometimes in days. So as long as you have a free weekend, the whole weekend, because they might move it to a Friday night, a Monday night, Saturday night, Sunday. So if you keep a whole weekend free for when this game usually is, you can do it. But also just bear in mind that they do change the fixtures and the schedule depending on, cup games, European exploits of both these teams. So it's quite difficult to be flexible, but it can be done. It can be done for sure. So if you want to reach out to me on social media at JPW_NBC Sports on Twitter, I'll help you go to the right places to find a ticket because it is a wonderful experience. And I remember being on a train from London to Liverpool with a group of guys and their partners from Orlando who booked way ahead, and they were just amazed to be there for one of these big games. So it is possible, and the atmosphere is absolutely electric. And right now, a lot of tension in the air, I think, the way that this game started. Right, Andy? It's a bit nervy at the moment.
Yeah. While I wasn't worried about the start from United, it's dragging on a little bit longer than I think that they would have liked. And I think they would want to have settled in and had a little bit of possession at some point in the game thus far, just 40% at the moment, and just the one shot, 7 for Liverpool so far. And of course, they've been fairly low quality aside from the cross into the box there just a few minutes ago. So Liverpool are settling into this game, but it still feels like if you just follow the pattern of Liverpool's season, that doesn't really mean anything at the moment because they are just one mistake, one lapse of judgment, one lapse of concentration away from giving United a chance that they didn't really work for, that they didn't really deserve.
Oh, so close to Bruno Fernandes. I thought that was
it. There it is. It's just, yep.
All that was in. Diego Dallo whips it into the back post. Bruno Fernandes with a diving header across goal, inches wide of the far post. Absolutely brilliant effort to get it anywhere near goal from that angle. And Trent just kind of switched off there, but a brilliant.
That's just incredibly sleepy defending right there. Not from Trent, obviously at the back post, and he gets a lot of stick for it. But I think so much of it is warranted, isn't it? Because of moments like that. Bruno, of all people, not hard to mark. Just get in the way. You don't even have to rise up above him. Just get in the way, and he is just standing there at the back post, marking no one, ball watching everybody else on the field. You cannot be standing inside your own 6-yard box and watching the ball.
Noted aerial monster Bruno, right? Like that is the
yes.
Power. Oh, Rashford's in. Oh, a weak finish, but a great ball from the left, and he got in between Van Dijk, I think it was, and Robertson. Just snuck in between the two of them. He had a side-footed attempt from 18 yards out, and he scuffed it and hits it straight at Alisson. But 2 great opportunities there for Man United within the space of a minute. And it's starting to open up there for them. And Liverpool, a little bit all over the place, a little bit ragged defensively. And Luke Shaw now is coming down the left, finds Weghorst, back to Casemiro. Casemiro gives it away. And now here come Liverpool. Maybe can they answer? Maybe this game now, the best answer for them is just to come out and go for it because... Oh, Nunez battling there with brilliant play from Casemiro. Weghorst now coming down the middle, tries to find Rashford. Henderson clears. And again, now Liverpool are coming back with Robertson playing it into the middle. Harvey Elliott's got the ball. Trent's buzzing down on the right-hand side for him. Here's Salah's got the ball, edge of the box. Look at the cutting on his left foot. Flicks it in towards the penalty box. Towards nobody. But here comes Henderson to Nunez. Nunez to Salah. Salah, edge of the box. Back to Nunez. Good defending. Nunez, it broke towards him, but he's offside. So Salah tried to get on the end of it. But Man United clear. But Konate now has the ball on the halfway line. But this is a great tempo, great pace about this game now. And it's really starting to open up, hasn't it, Andy?
Yeah, I'm not loving what I'm seeing from Liverpool defensively these last couple of minutes. And that chance to Rashford was so easy. United did not have to work for it. One ball in from out on the wing. And honestly, Rashford probably had time to take a touch and then go second touch for the shot because of the space that was created. All Fred did was made a run in from midfield and pulled Konate 10 yards out of space and opened up the entire middle of the field for Rashford. He had a little bit more time. So that's exactly what I was talking about with Liverpool, where just discipline-wise, they're not the same team defensively. And I think a lot of that does come down to the midfield. It's as good as Van Dijk was at his best, and he was the best defender in the world without a doubt at that time. The midfield took so much pressure off of that back line, did so much of the defensive work in front of the defense that made them look really, really good. And now that that's not there, we're suddenly asking the Liverpool defense, hey, we need you to defend everything. And, that's a tough ask for any team, for any player, let alone, a defense that's still kind of built around a Virgil van Dijk who's nowhere near the player that he was.
Yeah. I mean, Wijnaldum, every season that goes by,
what a
think
player.
How incredible that.
And who would have thought that?
I know, right? Such a underrated player. I mean, he did get a lot of praise in the end, but just a key cog in this machine, obviously. And yes, Fabinho and Henderson are both, getting towards the end of their careers. But we have an opportunity here, though, from a foul on Salah, 35 to 40 yards out on the far right flank. Again, Konate, Van Dijk, all the big lads are up. Robbo whips it in. Oh, United clear. And now Fred races clear, but Robertson wins it back. The United win it back. Ball over the top to Anthony. Rashford wants it in the middle. Liverpool got some players back. Good ball across, but Konate clears and it goes out for a throw-in. But
I don't know. Sorry, this is exactly what people talk about. They talk about Trent Alexander-Arnold. You can watch him. You can watch him jog half this go, but like, you're the right back. That's your side. Don't leave your center back with the guy. And the fact that we're going to be patronized with by Klopp forever about no, trust me, he does all the work is hilarious. He has a gaping flaw. They deal with it because he's one of the best service guys in the history of the sport. And that's all there is to it. And that's what you have to say. Sorry.
Absolutely.
I get mad.
Let us know in the comments any questions that you guys have for us. Again, where you're watching from. And just a reminder, if you're in the USA, you can watch this game on USA Network and stream it on NBCSports.com. And the link is there at the top of the comments section. You can see it. So click on that link and that will take you straight to the game. When we look at, it is an interesting question because we talked about Man United are probably the happier of the two. Andy, who needs to win this game more? I mean, United, is a draw okay for them because they're on the outskirts of the title battle, you would say. I mean, even though they win their games in hand, they're still 8 points behind Arsenal at this point. But Liverpool win this game, right? And then they're 3 points behind Tottenham with a game in hand. So, fourth place is well within reach. So for Liverpool, they just got to keep winning, of course. But I don't know if both teams settle for a draw in this one. It's really interesting, right? Who needs it more?
Yeah, I would say Liverpool, again, the word that I keep coming back to for them out of desperation, I think would be the team that would need it more because, the difference between them finishing in the top four and not finishing in the top four is much, much greater than United being in the title race or not being in the title race, but between now and the end of the season. It feels like United have very comfortably established themselves as the third best team in the Premier, and I don't think there's any argument against that. Honestly, I can't think of anything. And so, Liverpool needed a little bit more. The only thing I worry about, though, is it feels like United have Europa League winners written all over them this season, or at least finalists, and that's going to be a lot more games. And so there could be a few games where, like you just said, Joe, they take a draw when they should be winning. And so maybe they could cost themselves a few points. But again, I don't think that it'll matter that much, whereas Liverpool, it'll hurt them a lot more.
If they win, Joe, I think they can rubber stamp their spot in the top four because Liverpool's not going to catch you. And I think that's why it's more interesting for Manchester United. Maybe this is more interesting. The idea that you can take everything you've done this year and add finally one again at Anfield. So I think there's a lot of little, kind of not little, that's not a little thing, but there's a lot of boxes that Ten Hag can check here.
Absolutely. And interesting stat that has come up on the screen. Inside 33 minutes now, Liverpool have had 23 touches in the opponent's box and Man United have had 5. But Man United have had 3 shots on target to Liverpool 0. So efficiency we're talking about of United again, aren't we? And just ruthless and just savvy, right, Andy? Is a good way to sum them up right now.
Another point I'll make.
On the left flank, sorry to cut you off, but his 4 men ahead of him. Nunez cutting him down the left. Squares it back to the edge of the box. Just past Gakpo. Back to Fabinho. Henderson. Building again down the left side. To Nunez. Cuts inside. Oh, lovely bit of skill. And Anthony takes him down. But no free kick is given. So, and then Gakpo clears it for a throw-in. Klopp is screaming at the referee there for a free kick. But Andy, sorry, go back to your point on Man United.
And just one more point I'll make on who needs it more. If Liverpool don't get into the top 4, massive, massive problem for them this transfer window coming up in the summer. Who they can attract, who they cannot attract, the money that they will or will not have with the club ownership being up in the air at the moment. like we think of these two teams as should probably be competing for the same players. If it comes down to a player picking United or Liverpool, and it is a truly difference-making player, United finished third, Liverpool finished fifth. That player is going to Manchester United automatically to play in the Champions League. The money will be better as well, and so like, yeah, it's a kind of a secondary thing. But when we talk about where these clubs are going in the medium and the long term, it really, really does matter.
And obviously, it's interesting with the ownership situation at both clubs right now, where Liverpool saying we're not going to sell, looking for more investment. And Manchester United, it seems like things are just slowing down a little bit when it came to their sale of the club and potentially other suitors getting interested. Will the Glazer family just keep part of the club and only sell a minority stake? And yeah, that impacts everything, right? If you're in the top four in the Champions League, it looks like right now Man United are going to be. Liverpool are right on the cusp. So it's really intriguing to see how that's going to play out this summer, depending on where they finish.
And Joe, you mentioned, because we have our posts at soccer.nbcsports.com, a lot of posts on each team has its own transfer posts, right? And the names we've updated and linked to Liverpool in the last week or so, as we hear about Firmino and Salah potentially leaving, we've been linking them with Rafael Leao and Gravenberch from Bayern and Nicolo Barella and Jude Bellingham. None of those guys are going to Liverpool if they're not in the Champions League. None of those guys. But Salah and Firmino could still leave. So it is, Andy makes a really, really good point there. I'm not saying it's doom and gloom, because you've already got Gakpo and Nunez, and they're going to be a big part of your future. And by the way, you want to see Jurgen Klopp not in the Champions League, using those guys and focused on the Premier League. It could be pretty tasty, but you're not landing the guys you want if you're not going to the Champions League.
Absolutely. And Luke Shaw surging down the left here for Man United. And let's remember, Liverpool have had their number, right? It's 6 home Premier League games unbeaten against Man United for Liverpool. And United haven't done the league double over Liverpool since the 2015-16 season. So it's been a long old time since United have had bragging rights in this rivalry. But they're playing with a lot more belief as this first half has gone on. They've had, I would say, the two best chances with the Fernandes header and the Rashford opportunity. Obviously, that cross in for Nunez was a good opportunity as well. So, yeah, it's going to be really interesting. Let's just see what happens in the final 8 minutes or so of this first half, because if Man United score, then obviously it forces Liverpool to totally change what they're doing. But at the moment, this is a bit more defensively sound from Liverpool, not taking too many chances, not taking too many risks. Good. Dalot with a cross into the box and just a bit too heavy for Rashford. I'm not sure if Rashford was maybe offside, but he's asking for a bit of a better ball from Dalot, because it was definitely on there. And that's what we've seen here, right? Liverpool are giving up a lot of opportunities from crosses out wide. And United just haven't made the most of it so far. And Robertson comes down the left. Dalot slides in. Robertson's firing up the crowd. He's want to throw in there. The locals are loving that at Anfield. And this game really reaches a very interesting point. So, yeah, let us know where you guys are watching from around the world. It's always intriguing to see where you guys are tuning in from. And send in your questions as well, whatever you want to ask us. Okay. Go ahead.
I had a question for you, Joe. Fast forward yourself to late April and what we've seen in this Manchester United team. Where does Eriksen go? Does he just plug into the same spot, or are you using him differently?
Using differently. Big chance here, though, for Man United. Oh, Van Dijk clears it, but Alisson come off the line. Was in no man's land. Anthony tried to round him, and Liverpool clear. But the longer this first half has gone on, the more dangerous Manchester United look. Nick, what was your question? Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, because we were talking about Weghorst earlier, and Casemiro and Sabitzer and Fred.
Eriksen,
yeah. I think Eriksen in that Weghorst role, with all due respect to him, is pretty tasty.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we've seen, Fred, as Anthony goes down and he's waving the imaginary yellow card to try and get, I think it's, who's you want to get booked here?
What a terrible play. Wow.
Yeah, terrible. So, yeah, I think Ericsson plugs in perfectly. The fact that they haven't missed him as much as I thought they would do is a huge testament to Fred, who's got a lot of stick, but he's been making some great runs in midfield. Obviously, totally different type of central midfielder, but kind of adds a bit more robustness to United's midfield. And that's probably why we've seen them so good defensively. There's a free kick on the right. Fernandez whips it in straight to Alisson, who collects and bowls the ball out to Nunez as Liverpool try and counter, with Salah up in the middle. But there's, again, 4 Man United players back there. And Marcus Rashford has just charged back 65 yards to make a tackle to stop that breakaway. But Varane has gone down on the edge of the box there. We've seen a replay of it. Fabinho with the elbow flying. Nothing given, but Rashford now is coming in off the left flank. He's charging towards Konate. Cuts inside. Lovely little skip. And it looked like Fabinho just clipped his heels there. It's a free kick to Manchester United, 40 yards out on the left. And a yellow card for Fabinho. So that's a bit worrying there for Liverpool, one of their midfield destroyers, picking up a yellow before half-time. That's going to limit him a little bit. But I'm not sure how much contact there was there. It looked like Rashford tripped himself, right?
Yeah, guys, I'm not a Liverpool, fan or apologist even in any way, but it is sad watching this midfield right now. That chance a couple minutes ago that Anthony had making that run in behind came from a giveaway where Harvey Elliott, who, had questions about earlier and starting in a game like this, just passes the ball straight into the chest of Anthony, and it's pass, ball in behind and scoring chance. And then Fabinho doesn't win the ball back anymore. Jordan Henderson can't press anymore. Harvey Elliott can't keep the ball in the midfield. Like, this midfield it's a complete disaster. And for all the blame,
gonna have to cut you off, Andy, but it's offside. Sorry. With a header from a free kick from the left. I think let's have a look. The replay's coming up now.
Yeah. Well off.
Yeah, there's 3 of them.
The whole team's off.
All right. Sorry, got a bit excited there. Sorry to pump the brakes a little bit. But yeah, it's got some good questions coming in here. We've obviously got some viewers from Arizona joining us. Thanks so much. We've got a question about Leeds from John. Will Leeds stay up? And if not, what happens to the 3 American players? Nick, you want to take this one, mate?
Yes, I do. Brendan Aronson is going down to the championship with Leeds if that happens, if he goes down. And he's probably going to be very, very, very good down there. Yeah. And probably be either go
Josh
back.
Sargent has done well in the championship.
It's honestly, I've made jokes and they're not really jokes, but that is a very similar situation. It's just that we saw Sargent as a center forward when he went down there, and we've seen him now as a new role. Adams is going to go, as we see a Liverpool chance here.
Oh! Cody Gakpo. What a finish. Cuts inside from the left.
Saw that at the World Cup.
Absolutely phenomenal finish. And just before half-time, what a moment for Liverpool to take the lead in this game. And you say slightly against the run of play, given how good Man United have been in the second half of this first half. But he's going crazy. Nunez and Gakpo celebrating. Harvey Elliott's getting involved as well. Wonderful scenes at Anfield. And let's have a look at this replay here. Ball out to the left from Alisson. Robertson plays it down, cuts inside. Finds Gakpo initially. Oh, is he going to be offside? I don't think so. I think Luke Shaw's keeping him on the far side. And then cuts inside rather easily. Had so much space there, Gakpo, once Robertson gave him the ball.
What a pass.
He was kind of caught out, but what a pass there from Robertson.
Robertson's been sensational in this first half.
Absolutely. And then a fantastic right-footed finish into the far bottom corner from Gakpo. Anfield erupts. Jurgen Klopp goes absolutely crazy on the sidelines. His team are loving it. Big smile on Jurgen's face. And that is a huge moment. Liverpool lead. Gakpo gets the goal. And once again, we're seeing these Liverpool forwards now, Salah, Nunez, and Gakpo. They're figuring it out, getting in the right areas. But that goal, Andy, was all about the assist from Andy Robertson there.
Yeah, that's a moment Fred's going to want back. Fred got way too tight to Gakpo all the way out on the touchline.
Hang on a minute.
Didn't need to and opened up all that space.
Nearly 1-1. Bruno Fernandes stepped up Weghorst. and his shot was deflected, but it looks like it was offside initially. But sorry, Andy, there was another big chance there for Man United right away with Bruno played over the top, but a good defensive line from Liverpool as it was clearly offside. But go ahead.
Yeah. To go back to a point we made earlier about Nunez, Liverpool's season, if you just kind of look at it, the fact that they didn't choose to sign Gakpo after the World Cup, they had to sign Gakpo after the World Cup. And I think that just, again, kind of highlights the situation where this team
ahead of Man United, by the way.
Yeah.
So Gakpo looked like he was going to go to Man United, and now he scored against them in a massive game. So, you know, just goes to show you.
Yeah, but that's a signing that Liverpool make in January last year, kind of like, you know, they bring in Luis Diaz. And I think the plan was, well, we'll give him a half a season to kind of find his way, and then we'll look for him to be an impact guy next season. They need Cody Gakpo to be a consistent goal scorer this season. Again, I just think that highlights kind of where their season has been and the situation that they're in. You know, Liverpool of past years would not have been in that spot.
Absolutely. Nick, I mean, what do you think about that finish and Gakpo's play overall? Because like Nunez, both of them have really come to life in recent weeks.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I said it out loud, but in my head, I was thinking I was having World Cup flashbacks. Not because of that exact goal, but that's the sort of thing he cut up the U.S. defense doing that. And doing that to Rafa Varane is a little bit more impressive. No offense to our boys in the red, white, and blue. But that was, I mean, that Robertson has been buzzing up and down the left side like a guy who knows how important this is to his club and his club's next couple of years. And this, again, it's funny how we changed the discussion because Man United had been kind of running things. This 3 points is really, really important. And I think it didn't resonate how important until I saw Liverpool basically take hold of them for a few minutes. And now it feels like, oh, I get it. I get it. I think it is more important for Liverpool.
I think it is. And it's half time. Liverpool 1, Manchester United 0. Shots there of Rashford walking off the pitch, looking a bit despondent. Obviously, the Liverpool fans at Anfield applauding their team off. They're very happy with them going in ahead of the break. Very even game, though, gents. I mean, what's our big takeaways from that first half, Andy? It was big chances at both ends of the pitch. Man United took control of the game after Liverpool started the better. Probably should be level. Should be 1-1 would be a fair reflection on the game so far.
Yeah.
But Liverpool are ahead, and you know now they have something to hold on to. So it'd be intriguing to see how they come out in the second half and set up with this lead. But
yeah, a bit disappointing, I think, from United in the first half. And I know they're away from home. I know they're at Anfield. I know it's the derby. All of those factors taken into consideration, I would have expected a little bit more from them to just have a longer period of play where they are in control, where they're really putting Liverpool under pressure. It's just been sporadic moments sprinkled in throughout the first half in this one. And so I think back to something that Nick said on Thursday, and I think it's a good point that certainly for myself probably overlooked a little bit. The fact that they're basically playing their fourth, what did you call it, Nick? Knockout game or elimination type feeling game, a game of real significance and real stake in a week and a half, in what, like 10 or 13 days. That's a lot to ask a team to just continuously get up again and again and again. And especially when you're facing, you know, on the end of a run like that, a team that has the desperation that Liverpool do. Not that United are comfortable with where they're at, but I think they have an understanding of, you know, that they have done a lot of the hard work, and they have made up a lot of the ground that they had to do this season. And so just the importance factor, the desperation of Liverpool, I think is really starting to come out. And that, if you're a Liverpool fan, should be a really, really good sign, because as recently as a month ago, I looked at maybe not even a month. I looked at this team and said, I don't know if they care. Obviously they care, but do they have it within them to pull out that little bit of extra fight and that desperation? And I think what we've seen so far in the first half is that they do.
Yeah, and if this result holds right now, and if they do keep a clean sheet, then what? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shutouts in a row in the Premier League for Liverpool, winning 4 of those. Again, there's still a long way to go in this one. But Nick, when we look at the halftime stats, you look at Liverpool, 60% possession to 40%, expected goals they lead, total shots they lead, accurate passing, number of passes are way higher than Manchester United. So you have to say they probably deserve to edge this one right now, don't they? I mean, Man United have had some big chances, but they're playing like they're away from home rather than dominating and controlling this game. And Liverpool, just seem to be in that mode, like Andy said, the desperation mode. And you think about the last few years when they've been in that title race for Man City and desperate to win, or when they were desperate to get into the top four at the end of the one season when Alisson popped up and scored, and they just did it on the final day. That brings the best out of this group of players, right? It's almost the best way for them to play, like it is their last game.
Well, let's roll this out there as well for the second half as we go to consider how this might change and what may happen. Liverpool have continued to produce XG all season long. The attack is not the problem. They have two of the best attack-minded fullbacks in the game. Van Dijk, whatever you want to say about him as a defender, is still very good with the ball at his feet. Alisson is magnificent with the ball at his feet. When they're in possession, with the exception of what Andy talks about, some of Elliott's struggles today, and he probably should have scored in the first 12 minutes of this game. Attack-minded, they're going to rack up those numbers. The difference is they're lower half of the table in just conceding, hemorrhaging chances the other way. And so I think this is I don't want to say it's an easy fix because United's not the finished package yet, but just get Weghorst out of there and get somebody who can run and then go past the slow guys.
Absolutely. When we look at for the second half, Andy, what do you want to see more from Manchester United in this game? How can they get back into it and sort of mix up the tactical battle? Is it changing tactics? Is it changing personnel? Because again, if we look at the bench, obviously you have some really talented attacking players there that Eric Ten Hag can call on and has done in recent games and mixed it up a lot with Garnacho. Obviously, Jadon Sancho's on the bench. Sabitza's on there to maybe give him a bit more control midfield and keep the ball a bit better. Got some options, Man United, to turn this around.
Yeah, they do, and I think he's gonna use them as well. I think Weghorst is probably the first one that you look to bring off, and you don't push Marcus Rashford into the middle because I think it goes on, not quite strikerless either, but it's very fluid when Weghorst comes off for United these days. It's probably, I would guess, Sancho, because then you can push Bruno back into the middle. You can get Sancho out wide where he's been really, really good and dangerous in recent weeks since he came back from a suspension. But and I think that's what you have to do to get at Liverpool as well. You have to force the fullbacks to really defend because, to your point earlier, Joe, Robertson been very, very good. A lot of that, though, has been pushing on forward. And I just don't think that Antony is pinning him back enough and forcing him to defend enough one-on-one to not allow him to get forward. I think Sancho will do a little bit more of that. I think Sancho will also look to combine just a little bit more with Bruno in the middle and whoever has fluidly moved up top, whereas Antony is just very much a one-on-one player. And so there's a little bit of cohesion, I think, that's lacking when United have possession of the ball at the moment. And that's to be expected. I think you go away from home, you're at Anfield, and Liverpool, again, they have that desperation. So they're playing, which is a little bit more intensity than United at the moment. But we have seen this United team start slowly in games and finish very, very strong. I'm thinking about Barcelona, both legs of that. So by no means are they out of this one.
No, definitely. And seeing some of the replays of the chances from the first half, the Fernandes header, the Rashford scuff, when in previous weeks they would have just buried those chances, both of them given the current form that they're in. So definitely opportunities here. Let us know in the comments who you think is going to win. Obviously, we've got Liverpool going to win it. We've got Damien saying Man United are going to win. Mr. Footballer's doing our job for us there, saying who will win. So yeah, let him and let us know. And prediction time: Liverpool 3-2. All right. And Twitchy's saying Man United come back for a 2-1 win. We've got a lot of Man United. Liverpool look hot while Man United is sloppy defending. Yeah, just that one really big mistake there from Man United when Dalot got dragged out to Robertson because he's been so dangerous. Fred tried to cover him behind, but was caught just sleeping a little bit, slipped up. And then Gakpo was pretty easy for him to cut inside. I think it was Rafael Varane, right, when he cut inside there and curled it into the bottom corner. So I still think United might come back and draw this, Nick. I don't know what your predictions are for the second half. And if you're Liverpool, more of the same, what would you do? I mean, looking at their bench, they've got Jota, Firmino, Milner. They can go in a lot of different ways with this, right? It can go more defensive, swap in a few more experienced players just to see it over the line. But it's a big 45 minutes for Liverpool. And Abraham there says, I think it stays 1-0 to Liverpool. What do you think?
I respect Abraham. Wish him the second best of luck with his Miami Dolphins. But I think I will be it'll be a big victory for Liverpool, period, and metaphorically as well, if they can keep a clean sheet. And I don't see that happening. I think they may still win, but this team has just given up so many chances this year, to the extent where I think when you see Liverpool fans, and maybe this is Mr. Footballer saying Liverpool win 4-3, when those predictions come up, it's a lot of, oh, we're going to win and we're going to need to score a lot. You know, like that's the thing. It's not a shot against them. It's very Klopp of 6 years ago. Like, we're just going to outscore you. So I am thinking we got goals in this potentially for both sides, but Allison might be the difference, and Anfield might be the difference as this game goes on and the desperation gets behind them.
Yeah, I've got Mishak saying Liverpool. Go on, say United are coming back. Nushin says Liverpool. 2-1 score prediction. Twitchy says, I say Liverpool win 2-1 or 3-2. And then Nicholas just chucks in that in there to put the cat amongst the pigeons, but Arsenal still winning the league. So just a reminder.
You don't have to read all the comments, Joe. You can let some of them go.
Well, they're up on the screen, mate. So this is just to see your reaction mostly is why I read that. So, banter. Still too soon. Okay, so thanks so much for joining us, everyone. This special Pro Soccer Talk Live. Liverpool 1, Man United 0, halftime at Anfield. I'm Joe Prince-Wright here in England, joined by Nick Mendola in Buffalo, New York, and Andy Edwards in Kansas City. It's a pleasure to have you along with us today. So send your questions in. Remember, in the comments section up on the right, you can see the chat there. There's a link to stream the game live on NBCSports.com in the USA. And if you're in the USA, you can watch the game live on USA Network. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting for sure in this second half. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how both managers change things tactically. A lot of options on the bench, as I mentioned. So that's going to be intriguing. For Jurgen Klopp, Nick, we know he's been a bit tetchy in recent weeks and or months as Liverpool have gone through severe ups and downs this season. If they do get it over the line here, I mean, what kind of job is this for him to drag them back into contention? Because he was pretty bullish that he thought he could turn it around, but there were, as Andy mentioned, a spell about a month or so ago where you really worried for Liverpool, and kind of like Chelsea's season was at top 4 just totally out of the question. But they hold on today. They're within 3 points of it, and they've got a game in hand on 4th place as well. So what a job he's done.
Yeah, I want to speak directly to the Liverpool fans right now who think that maybe I'm kind of been hating on Klopp this year or even over the last hour and a half, because I want them to know that I have been there. I have done this. I watch Dortmund all the time. And the same thing happened. And he figured it out at times. But what happened is he took over Dortmund with far less of a good reputation and just identified brilliant players. Brought in Gundogan for like $5 million. He brought in Lewandowski for like masterclass stuff. And then when it fell apart for him, it didn't have to stay falling apart, but he didn't quite know what to do. And it was ugly and it was gross. And it was watching one of your heroes and being like, dude, why? Why are we doing this? And the last year has been that again. I've been winning. Look what I did here. It's not going well. And I don't know how to explain it. So I'm just going to throw the weirdest stuff out there and hope it sticks. And so if they get through this, it'll be a new experience for everybody. So it's hard to really predict how it might go, but I think it might go great. I think if they can get back in the top 4, I would tell you almost immediately, assuming they're going to go get a Bellingham, assuming they're going to fix this midfield, someone like that to rejuvenate that midfield, which is honestly mid-table midfield right now.
But it's not just making a big, massive singular signing like that, though. It is.
But they've been signing the younger. I mean, they have been signing the younger guys. Gakpo's 21. Nunez is 23. They're talking about Bellingham, who's 19. They've signed Elliott and Carvalho. Like, they have smartly, in theory, identified key pieces, and they were doing it before Chelsea started doing that, right? This sort of youth movement thing. If they and look to Real, I'm saying this wholeheartedly. I know it's different clubs, different budgets, but look to the year that Real Madrid bought Rodrigo and Vinicius, and everyone's like, why are they buying teenagers? And now it looks great. I would fear Jurgen Klopp if he gets this top 4 space, because I think they're right back in the discussion.
Andy, you agree with that?
Yeah, I do, but
it's strong. I know it's strong.
Yeah, well, my question is how far away from playing the way that Klopp's teams have always played is he willing to go? Because the players that we're talking about there, I don't like Nunez and Gakpo, whether Nunez is through the middle or whether either of them are through the middle, whether either of them are out wide, don't have the pace and the directness. I think is the most important thing of Salah and Mane at their very best, and so it's going to have to look very different. They're going to have to function and operate very differently and be much more of this kind of control team. And obviously they can do that, but how willing is he to do that? It would be still my biggest question. So he is still like I do think the squad is moving and trending towards a good direction, but my question still remains: is Klopp the one with the right ideas for a team like that? And if you look at the back line and the ages of some of those players back there, they're not so far away from having to replace just about everybody along the back line as well. And then we're talking about, well, this is a brilliant team going forward, and they're so fun to watch, but they can't give up less than 3 goals in a game. It's very hard to be good in a league like the Premier League because you have to have a complete full team at one time. It can't be we are brilliant going forward, we can't defend, or we defend very well and we just don't score goals. Like that's not working out so well for Newcastle recently, and so it's just and Spurs. Not to take a shot at Nick there. I'll throw my team as well.
Well taken.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. And to that point, I have questions about both of the managers at both of those clubs as well, being the right type of fit, being the right profile, all of those things. So it's just there's a lot of questions to be answered for Liverpool. But you're right. Finishing in the top 4 answers probably about half of them.
Yeah. What about this from Twitch? I'm getting distracted by the Bills helmet. Anyway, I know Liverpool's defense can win it out. Just making sure they don't slip up on those key attacking moments. So, yeah, I think that's right. Like, if they do make the top 4, then obviously that gives them the extra budget, the extra pull to get in the Jude Bellingham, and just maybe then that allows them, right, to bring in the defensive players they need. And they've seen this season with Van Dijk and Alexander-Arnold, perhaps, and obviously Matip, that they do need that overhaul. And we've said it a lot about this Liverpool team. We didn't know that they were all going to go over the hill together this quickly at the same time. So if they can get through, recover well enough, and get in the top 4 this season, then I think for a lot of these players, it might be their last season being regulars at Liverpool. And that's not a terrible thing. That's not a bad thing. That's just evolution, right? It happens. But the second half is underway at Anfield. Liverpool 1, Man United 0. Thanks for joining us on this very special live watch along here at Pro Soccer Talk. Again, you can watch the game in the USA on USA Network on the TV, and you can stream it on NBCSports.com with the link in the comments section. So make sure you do that. Have us up on the other screen for watch along. We can answer any of your questions and enjoy this wonderful game we have unfolding before us. Ramon here, great question. United won't, or great comment more so. United won't lose. Ten Hag has proven time and time again he knows how to address issues at half time. That's kind of fair enough, right, Nick? I mean, when you look at Leeds, I think recently when they came back from through that game, they came back and won that game in the second half. And they kind of just made the right substitutions again against West Ham in the FA Cup as well recently when Garnacho scored that worldie. So Ten Hag's proven to be very astute tactically in game situations, and obviously hasn't made any changes yet. But that's a very good point there on how good he's been at doing this since he's arrived at Manchester United.
Oof, awful giveaway by Luke Shaw, and now Liverpool on the move.
Nunez, Fabinho on the edge of the box. Harvey Elliott to Salah on the byline, tries to clip it. Elliott to the back post. Goal! 2-0. Nunez, I combined it there. Unbelievable. Harvey Elliott whipped it in. Nunez heads it home from about 6 yards out. And 90 seconds into the second half, Liverpool are 2-0 up, absolutely flying. And we're going to have to see now if Erik ten Hag and Man United can work their magic to turn this around, because this is massive for Liverpool in their season. And Gakpo just before halftime, Nunez scoring just after halftime. Just incredible to see this play out. But it all starts with a bad giveaway by Luke Shaw. Weghorst sliding in, can't control it. Casemiro loses the ball to Fabinho. Fabinho somehow wins it back, plays it out to the right to Salah. his cross bundles in again. Comes out to Elliott, he whips it in, and Nunez heads it home. I mean, comedy of errors defensively there from Man United to not be able to clear that. But Liverpool, they've struck again, right either side of half time, and they have taken control of this game. They lead 2-0. Yeah. So, Andy, what's your reaction to that early goal in the second half for Liverpool?
That was one of the most un-Manchester United-like moments that we've seen from this team, maybe all season. Casemiro ending up on his backside twice during that sequence and never really coming close to winning the ball back, I think kind of sums it up perfectly there. He's been the rock in front of the back line there and has bailed them out, honestly, of quite a few situations and just completely unable to do so. But Nick was right that the giveaway from Luke Shaw was very, very Harvey Elliott-esque from the first half. The chance that United were not able to capitalize that. Urgency, I think, is not quite there coming out from the second half. And again, that's very un-Manchester United-like of recent weeks because they have come out and started very quickly in second halves, and they have, whether they've overturned deficits or whether they've taken a one goal lead and turned it into 2 or 3, they have started very quickly. So we'll see how they respond. They're not out of it yet because they've got the attacking talent and they've got the players on the bench that we talked about. It just seems like Ten Hag is going to have to go to them probably a little bit sooner to really change this game because Weghorst in there, there is no real holding up to be done at this point of the game, the way that Liverpool are going to look to sit back in. And we saw defensively there in that sequence, doesn't offer anything in dropping into the midfield. So yeah, change is coming for sure.
If Man United fans haven't been watching a lot of Liverpool this year, their team is playing like Liverpool has played. Like 2, maybe 3 gigantic mistakes, only 1 bailout from their defenders at the back. Yep. I mean, that's awful from Shaw. That's the sort of mistake that it won't, because Shaw has a resume and has done a lot of good things, but that's the sort of mistake that gets somebody on the bench for a while.
Oh, yeah. And shout out to Vitor as well. He predicted that Nunez would score. So well done to you, my friend. And Fernandes cuts it back. Henderson clears it. And now Liverpool can surge through. But yeah, I guess this is interesting, right? In terms of Liverpool's attack. Salah's on the ball right now, cutting in from the right. 3-0! Salah sets up Gakpo for a wonderful finish. Just I was talking about Mo Salah there, just an incredible pass just to get past Lisandro Martinez, and he kind of seemed to slip. Gakpo ghosted in and just lofted the ball over De Gea into the far corner. And it is 3-0 to Liverpool, 50 minutes into this game. And going from Man United attacking at one end, Henderson won it in the box, launched the counter-attack, and it was pretty easy, wasn't it? It was just, I think Gakpo played it originally out to Salah. Salah takes on Martinez. And just an incredible little dink over De Gea into the far corner at the Kop end. Anfield's going wild.
Oh, God.
Liverpool going crazy.
Salah just sent Lisandro Martinez to the concession stand for 3 or 4 pies. I mean, that is...
I'll have a hot dog, please, Lisandro. Look at that. That is incredible skill from Salah. An incredible finish from Gakpo. Let us know in the comments what you're thinking now.
Yeah.
But, Andy, that is...
It's more than just a great finish from Gakpo. He starts that entire thing. Is the outlet for Liverpool to release that pressure. Bruno gets into the penalty area. The cross is not great. It comes out to Gakpo. He's got to hold it up first of all. He manages to do that. He manages to turn. He manages to get it out to Salah, and then he looks around. He has a full look around, sees that nobody is making that run into the space that's forward, and he goes 60, 70 yards at a full sprint to get there right on time and present that option for Salah. That looks like Liverpool at their best. Right. You can replace Gakpo with Mane right there, and those two running a counterattack together, has taken Liverpool to the highest of highs that exist in club football. They've won the Champions League doing that. They've won the Premier League doing that. You talk about getting back to an identity that looks, now to be fair, United, everybody's boots stuck in cement and nobody rushing back defensively, nobody covering space, but getting Salah all the way out there one-on-one against Martinez with Shaw pushed so far forward, it's opportunistic. And I think that's what Liverpool have to be, because they're not going to create chances quite the way that they have in the past from absolutely nothing. And so taking those moments when they present themselves like that, and you get a one-on-one, you get a center back pulled all the way to the touchline, that's a great position for the attacking team to be in. And they finally made the most of it.
And by the way, Gakpo just wasn't tracked at all. There was no within 10 yards of him. So you have to kind of point fingers there at Fred, Casemiro. Where are your holding midfielders in those situations, plugging the gaps when the centre-back's dragged out? That's where they should be. And yeah, it's interesting now to see United haven't made a sub yet, but surely the likes of Garnacho and Sancho are got to be coming on soon. Anthony's on the ball, loses it, hasn't had a good day. Weghorst, as we see in the comments there, Ten Hag has to stop playing Weghorst as a number 10, says Ahmed. And it's difficult to disagree with that as the cross comes in. Bruno Fernandes tries to head home at the back post, but Trent defends really well on that one. I think, has it gone out for a corner or a goal kick? I think it might be a goal kick, and Bruno's laughing.
Yeah, I mean, that was a little dirty from Bruno, I think.
Yeah.
He goes in down. Yeah.
Samira. Yeah, with the elbow up a little bit. But yeah, good defending there by Trent, and everything's going well for Liverpool at the moment. So, wow. Yeah. Abraham says, WTF, obviously, why the face? That's what that means. Liverpool and Man United look like Chelsea. Yeah. Oh, and Alisson nearly giving the ball away there in his own box, and Bruno is throwing his arms at the officials, and nearly a costly mistake back there for Liverpool. But now Robertson coming down the left, tries to cross it in. Varane clears. But Man United, there might be a look for a penalty kick there. I don't know what's going on there with that shout. But Fred wins the ball back in midfield. Fabinho now wins it. Nunez has got, the referee is given
100%. Yeah.
a free kick for a drag back here. But we're going to see a replay of this incident. The ball comes back to Alisson. He lets it slip under his foot inside the 6-yard box. Oh, he got so lucky there. Bruno came in, nicked the ball away from him. Alisson chucked his body at Fernandes. Didn't touch him. No contact there. Fernandes went over in the penalty box looking for a penalty, but there was no contact there for me, lads. So I don't think there's a penalty decision to be made, but really lucky there for Liverpool, almost their own worst enemies. As Alisson slips over again, as Rashford's almost played in over the top. I think he just needs to hold that ball a little bit longer there, just take a bit of a breather, because there's been a crazy minute or so for Alisson and Liverpool's goal, but he's got away with that one.
Joe, I don't know. I mean, maybe it'll bear out. Certainly, I'm not the tactician that both of these managers are, as now it looks like United breaking up a Liverpool run. It seems to me that in accounting for Rashford, Jurgen Klopp has let his center backs and his midfielders do that job. And we saw it with when Fernandes was Alexander had to deal with that on a cross. I think they've just said, listen, man, you're not going to stop him. And so you do everything else. And it's working. We have not seen a lot of Marcus Rashford today.
Harvey Elliott, little dink ball into the box. Gakpo turning. Ball comes. Oh! Robertson
Andrew?
With his right foot. The old swinger just goes just past the far post. Wow. So close to a fourth goal for Liverpool. Man United there just giving the ball away so cheaply right again, just in front of their penalty box. And you can see on the sidelines, Garnacho and McTominay are getting ready to come on to try and wrestle back some control for United, because 56 minutes in, and right now it's 3-0 to Liverpool, and it could be 4 or 5 at this rate. This seems like
game over, by the way.
Wake-up call for Man United. Salah's got it, edge of the box, trying to play it into Gakpo. Fred clears, but United just can't get out. Robertson again wins it back, edge of the box, striking on goal, took a deflection. Gakpo, he's on a hat-trick now, of course, and he's got a smile on his face. But this is one-way traffic at the moment, lads, and I just can't see a way back in for Man United for this, right, Andy?
Yeah, I don't want to be, Mr. Makes excuses for Manchester United, because I don't know that there's a club that needs it less than them, historically speaking. but they are out of gas. Every touch is terrible. Every response and defensive rotation is either slow or non-existent, and nobody is making the extra effort that is required in a game like this to be defensively sound. Every ball out from the back finds a Liverpool head or chest. Like it's like the field has been completely tilted
Corner
towards
comes
the one
in.
end of Anfield.
Canate heads wide from 6 yards out. Brilliant delivery from the corner. Should be 4-0 to Liverpool. Totally got free of his marker, Martinez, and then heads home. Does perfectly. Heads it across goal, gets a flick on it. Was going into the bottom corner, but just went wide of the far post, Andy. And Valverde course is off. Garnacho is on.
God bless us all.
And we can add Camp Mark on set pieces now to that list of things, like just not even as much physically as mentally lapses in judgment, and I think that's a big reason why we're seeing, of all people, Scott McTominay about to come on here is Fred has played a lot of minutes, and for everything that Fred does or doesn't do as a player, one of those players who is probably best used or experienced, rationed out a little bit. And when Fred is a 90-minute player every single game, you're going to have some moments like this. And the midfield has essentially fallen apart for Manchester United. That's not to say Liverpool is dominated in there. They have been opportunistic, and I'll keep coming back to that word probably for the rest of the game. They are simply taking what United are giving them right now, and United are giving them pretty much everything that they want.
Yeah, I mean, good comment there from SC Python saying Casemiro is not playing as good as he played the last few games. I mean, yeah, that's pretty true. Some of these runs here that Liverpool are just having, midfielders just running off the ball and Gakpo just finding gaps as Rashford finds a gap here, but Henderson snapping into challenges, and he's had a really good game in midfield there, the captain, leading by example, once again, using all of his experience. But some really good comments there from SC Python said, Man United is not hungry enough. Liverpool fighting for the Champions League spot. United cannot win the Premier League, so they're not hungry enough. And I'd add to that as well. You mentioned it earlier, Andy, that United just look just out on their feet right now. And I think such a big week they've had FA Cup, they've had the League Cup victory, Europa League's coming up. They have so many games right now, and their squad, they probably isn't even as big as Liverpool's when you look at the actual quality on the bench. They've only got 3 or 4 players to really change into the lineup who don't let the quality dip, right? So because they've been playing so well with the same set of players, I think Ten Hag has been reluctant to change it too much, and that's probably just come back to bite them in this game.
And it's not going to get any easier. We're going Thursday, probably Sunday. If they advance in Europa League, probably Thursday, Sunday, Thursday. So like it's, the inability to rotate, I think, is probably more what it is, because, I mean, with Eriksen going down and Sabitzer coming over in January, how quickly can you expect him to just jump into a team that is trying to force their way back into the title race? I think it's a bit, it would be a bit ambitious or a little bit naive, maybe even. And so, to have to rely on McTominay, who we've seen in the last few seasons under multiple different managers, is just severely limited in a team of United's caliber and where they want to be. So it's they're still fine, by the way. They're still the 3rd best team in the Premier League. I think this does, though, give me just a lot more optimism and I think belief in Liverpool that that they can be opportunistic in the way that they are in this game, and that they have enough, I think, to certainly give Spurs and Newcastle a race for 4th, and probably based on this performance, and if it's a galvanizing moment and they're able to keep that 5th clean sheet in a row, I don't know how you don't make them favorites for it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, again, this is a team that came very, very close to winning the quadruple last season. So you don't become a bad team overnight. They've had some injury issues, form issues. Obviously, now they've got that figured out defensively and found a slightly different way of playing than the high pressing and more counter-attacking and taking less risks. So they found a way to get through it right now. But the cross comes in from a free kick after Alessandro Martinez picked up a yellow card for possibly the most Liverpool versus Man United tackle I've ever seen, where he came in and left a bit on Gakpo. So deserved a yellow for that one.
Joe, we all love watching these games, right? You never want to say something still with a half hour to go. But the more I think about it, the subs that he made just there at the half-hour mark were, let's live to fight another day. Because if you're trying to win this game, maybe it's Garnacho still, right? But it's Malacia for Shaw. Let's go get them down the left side. Let's get Sancho in there on the other side. Let's go get it. Or it's, yeah, we got a game coming up Thursday. Let's make sure this doesn't go 5-0. I think Man United fans aren't going to want to hear it, but it's screaming that at me right now.
And I think that is such a mature decision for a manager to make as well. Like, that could be a hard decision to make, to know when to cut your losses and to look ahead and see what you've got coming. At a club like United, the expectation is to win every game, and especially against Liverpool, you never want to lose 3-0 or even worse, to next point, if it continues to get out of hand. So it's just, it's a very poor result, obviously, for United, but it's just another kind of small moment, but a right button push from Ten Hag, in my opinion.
Yeah, Real Betis coming up in the Europa League last 16, first leg on Thursday, obviously. John Oliver's got a comment here. Liverpool's season and number of games last season has damaged them this season. There's too many games to top keep it. That's fair enough, right? When you're playing the way Liverpool play. It's a great comment there from John. They've had to find a different way to play this season. The high pressing hasn't worked this season as well as it has in previous seasons. It's almost like it probably takes a couple of seasons for Liverpool. It works for a couple, then one season it doesn't work quite as well. They re-energize and then
it also leads to a lot of injuries, and Liverpool have had so many of those as well.
Yeah, and the last time we saw them dip down the table, right, it was the same thing. It was a huge injury to Van Dijk, and they had no one behind them. This year, it's been a lot more injuries to a less central piece, but full credit where it's due.
Flashpoint here. Looks like McTominay sliding in with a really dangerous tackle on Cody Gakpo, who's gone down holding his shin.
They're targeting him now.
McTominay, he's only been on for a few seconds, but maybe we'll see this go to VAR, I think, because he knew what he was doing. He slid in, was out of control.
See you later. That's a red card.
His foot was raised like that.
Gotta be.
Look, he sticks it up after the fact. It's a red card in every world. I don't care about the rivalry.
Be a red card. Might fall into the orange card category for me, Nick Mendola. In between yellow and red.
I just think when you hit the deck and the foul happens and then you stick your leg up again, that's a red card to me.
Looks like he might get away with it, though. It's been booked. The referee's blown his whistle. Players carried on. So no VAR. Well, if there was a VAR check, it was a very quick one. McTominay probably gets away with one there. Okay, SC Python, kind of echoing what you were saying there, Andy, about probably one of the top contenders to win the Europa League. This is where Erik ten Hag is focusing. They'll be more hungry to beat Real Betis as Garnacho has a shot. It's deflected out for a corner by Konate. But I said it the other day. I said I think they're going to win 3 trophies this season, Europa League and FA Cup to add to the League Cup. And United right now, that seems to be what they're focusing on, because this one is, unless they score here and score another quickly, I can't see him getting anything from this one.
Yeah, I love all the attacking depth that they have, and probably would say that Ten Hag could use it a little bit more and get Sancho, a couple more starts and figuring out what to do or what not to do to just maybe not play Weghorst, I think is going to be a big decision that he's going to have to figure out. But I'm looking at the rest of the squad, and there's no depth along the back line.
Oh, there we go. Big chance for Salah. 4-0. Absolutely hammers it in off the crossbar after Nunez slotted it through to him centrally. McTominay tried to cover him, but it came straight back to Salah, smashed it in off the underside of the bar at the Kop. And I'm delighted, not just because I have him in my fantasy team, but that is an incredible finish. And the front three from Liverpool, Nunez, Salah, Gakpo, all on the score sheet today, Nick Mendola. And this is, could get embarrassing now for Manchester United. I know they're trying to think about other games right now, but Erik ten Hag looked absolutely incensed on the sidelines there with somebody. And once again, it's just the ball luckily kind of ricochets to Salah, but drops him perfectly on the penalty spot. And he says, "Thank you very much. I'll volley that home." And he continues his great form.
McTominay looking like just about the worst sub you've ever seen. I mean, like, not in terms of, like, he's just not in control of his emotions or his body right now. And I think that yellow card wobbled him, and he's sliding all over the field, and it ends up putting one of the most lethal strikers of the last decade point blank with your goalkeeper. Salah and Robertson. We talk about Nunez and Gakpo, and it's really fun to talk about the new toys. But let's not forget that, like, class is kind of permanent, and those guys aren't they're in the middle, if not the end of their prime, but they both have clearly brought that Liverpool spirit today. And I think Salah, maybe all year, has not gotten enough credit because no one's doing anything around him.
Andy, I mean, is it too soon now to say that this win for Liverpool just does something different for their season than maybe what we thought? This is season defining. It feels like this kind of victory can spur them on for the rest of the campaign, right? To finish in the top 4, and we know Champions League is done pretty much. Right? But this is hugely impressive from Liverpool. And there we go. Sure, is getting into it. A little bit of afters there.
Oh boy.
Oh wow! But this is brilliant from Liverpool.
This gives them so much belief for now to the end of the season, and for 4 straight clean sheets, and they won 3 of them. None of those games were impressive from Liverpool. They did what they had to do, and there's a certain value in that. But to do this against Manchester United, when people are questioning, what is the future of Liverpool? Does this team need to be completely blown up and rebuilt? Are the results papering over some maybe questionable performances? Here, have 3 goals in the first, under 20 minutes of the second half. 4-0 against United.
Nick, what have you seen that? Luke Shaw.
Nunez kicks. I mean, whatever. If it's about intent, then there's another red card. So this rivalry is getting where we need to be.
22 minutes to go as well. 4-0. Liverpool have a free kick out on the right flank.
A bit of petulance there from Luke Shaw getting into his back, but he goaded him into doing that, and I'm a little bit, that's a little bit surprising that not more is being made of that.
Okay, Chris Monroe, Liverpool is back, baby. So, Chris, that's fair enough to say when they're 4-0 up against Man United. But I think we all have
like 2 weeks ago they were 5-2 down against Real Madrid.
Yeah, we had reservations about Jurgen Klopp and is he the right man? Can they really play the way that they need to play? Is this the end of his reign? Could be a handball here on Konate. Bruno comes in with a reducer challenge.
It's out of control.
This is getting pretty nuts at the moment here. So, I think for Jurgen Klopp, he's got to be so happy because I think he would have been really concerned with the defensive displays. But a great point. We had it further up here as well from Ryan Gallagher. Says I think when they lost Van Dijk for a few weeks, they lost something about them, and they started to get back though. So we're seeing the importance of Van Dijk. Konate's back fit. Obviously, some of the key midfielders, Henderson and Fabinho, look like they're back to themselves. And that front three, Andy, gives the rest of the team, midfield, defense, so much confidence in what they're doing when they know that those 3 up there are firing, right? They are today, right? So it kind of feels like we're watching Liverpool from last season or the couple of seasons before that.
Hey, not to pat myself on the back for something I said before the game, but do we feel like with these teams and these players and these squads, is the rivalry a little bit back on right now with these 2 teams kind of living in the same space of the footballing world and getting physical? And Nick, we just about have had the fight that we said, well, not really the fight in this. Right. Like, it feels like these players, because you can have clubs and a rivalry and say, that there is history there. But if it doesn't exist within the humans that are actually on the field playing out the game, then for me, it's not quite there. It's a bit more of a narrative thing. But we have a number of players now who have had some comings together with other players that they've never come together with before. And that will not be forgotten going forward. And so, this is, as unexpected as the lopsidedness is, this is exciting for not just the rivalry here, but also for the Premier League in general. These 2 teams at the same time are going to be top 4 teams and competing for the same things. It's been a long, long time since that's been the case.
Absolutely. Comment there from Sean Wickham saying so many favourable results for LFC in the top 4 race this week. And obviously Tottenham losing, Newcastle losing. I mean, Fulham are yet to play, so they could, if they win, Fulham go level with Liverpool on points. Let's not rule out the Cottagers. But on a serious note, obviously this result's going to hold here. So they'll only be 7 points behind Manchester United, Liverpool. So here's a question, a very easy one for you, Nick. Do we think Liverpool can actually overtake Man United? Because they are a streaky team, right? We've seen the runs they've been on in the past, and they can rack up 8, 9, 10 plus wins in a row. And when they're in this kind of form, it's tough to rule them out winning every game. It's really weird.
Well, they can catch them because whatever. I guess if Liverpool is back, and I've told you I think they could be back next year.
Well, here comes Rashford, by the way, talking about coming back. And a brilliant last-ditch tackle from Alexander-Arnold. Absolutely sensational tackle. And Virgil van Dijk gives him a big bear hug. Looks like Rashford was offside anyway. But that didn't matter. Alexander-Arnold didn't know that. And he still got back. Brilliant defending. I think I'm saying it now, but on the replay, I couldn't see.
I didn't think.
Yeah. So it's intriguing to see if he was onside. But anyway, so Liverpool
again, if Liverpool is back, which let's not rule out. I was just saying they could be a title contender next year with the right moves. Again, if that's the case,
Rashford's in again. He's round Alisson.
Oh,
it's the post. Van Dijk was covering there, but Rashford so close to getting yet another goal. But yeah, opportunity.
Okay, quickly. Then let's see what happens this week. Because if Liverpool is Liverpool, or not this week, but if Liverpool is Liverpool, then the Real Madrid tie is not over. I mean, that's how good they've been. Yep. they could beat them by 3. So
What about this comment here saying Klopp, of course, is here to stay and rebuild, and we will relive our recent glories. Strong back with a strong forward can cover for a weak midfield. Yeah, I mean, they're looking like their old house at the back and up front. And then, like, if they do finish in the top 4, like we said, Jude Bellingham is perfect for this team, right? Really, the way they play and the way you would be able to connect midfield with attack. I think that as long as they finish in the top 4 this season, they can get back to challenging for the big trophies. As Nunez cuts inside, drills it across, De Gea makes the save down low in the 6-yard box. And still 16 minutes or so to go. And Man United keep giving the ball away. Liverpool keep coming back. Salah to Harvey Elliott. Back to Salah. He's twisting and turning. Bruno's having a nibble. Pulls him back. Bruno's chucking his arms in the air. He can't believe it. And he's having one of those days right now. More surprised by Liverpool scoring 4 goals, or you saying the phrase "brilliant tackle by Alex"? Well, we didn't know it was a brilliant tackle by Alexander-Arnold. He certainly was in the right position. So fair enough, Sean. Good banter.
Let me just point this out because I think there's a discussion we had about Manchester United, their performance today, whether it's out of gas or not. I'm in charge of our little Premier League recap here at the website, and the first goal, obviously, it's a fantastic Robertson pass. I didn't notice until just now. Listen to the descriptions of the headline. Shaw mistake sets up Red second. Okay. Salah cooks Martinez, cues up Gakpo brace. Salah feasts on McTominay error.
Go!
There's another one.
Nunez with a brilliant header into the far corner.
Told you he was great.
Liverpool 5, Man United 0.
Wow.
We did not see this coming. I mean,
we want 9
goals, but Eric Ten Hag on the sidelines looks absolutely. Well, he's angry. Let's put it that way. United
more like Eric 5 Hag, am I right?
Oh wow! This is like the start of the season again for Man United. Where has this performance come from? The fans, they're showing the Man United fans, and they're already leaving. They're going out of the exits in the away end at Anfield. They can't bear to watch the final 15 minutes, and I can't blame them because
the players would love to join them.
A free kick comes in, for the back post towards Van Dijk from Alexander-Arnold. Henderson gets it, whips it into the center of the 6-yard box, and Nunez arrives perfectly, towers over Varane, and a lovely flicked header almost off his perfect ponytail at the back, and it flies into the far corner.
Ponytail. I think he got it with his hair.
Yeah, and it was 2 now for Nunez, 2 for Gakpo, and 1 for Salah. And Man United once again defensively, just all over the back.
Well, all over the place implies that they are somewhere, and they are really there. I watched Marcus Rashford there try to close out on the cross that came in back in. And was headed in, and it was the most 5% effort that I have ever seen from a player of that caliber. And I get it, you're 4-0 down already, and Liverpool are just continuing to put the press on, and they're feeling it now. But
on the right, crossing it in. Another big chance. Oh, Man United clear. But this is, again, it's still 15 minutes plus stoppage time to go here. This could be, I don't know, record book.
But body language is bad right now from United. So Luke Shaw right there, when he fouls Gakpo and almost seemed relieved that he had committed a foul because there was going to be a stoppage in play and time was going to run off, and the ball falls to Salah, and Salah says, we'll keep going. And then Shaw's body language says, oh no, do I have to? And like, it's just, it feels like Liverpool wave after wave coming after Manchester United, the way that Liverpool have done in recent years. And I don't think you just flip a switch and turn that back on, given the struggles that they've had with that this season. And so I still do put a lot of this down to United's, just recent fixtures and the schedule and just lacking at this point some fitness and sharpness as well. But credit to Liverpool for taking advantage of it, because there was a time this season and not so long ago where they would not have done so.
What a cross from Henderson, by the way, on that goal. As someone who I've clearly been ripping on the whole game, because I don't think he has 90 minutes in him. He's definitely got that in him. That class doesn't go away.
He had 77 minutes in him. He's come off now. There's a quadruple substitute for Liverpool. So obviously Jurgen Klopp is making the most of this opportunity to rest a few. We've got Gakpo coming off, Henderson coming off. Who else is coming on here? I'm just trying to see. So many changes. Jota's on.
Came on.
What's that, sorry?
Stefan Bajta came on.
Yep, and Jota's on. And there's another couple. I think I saw Milner ready to come on there as well. Wow.
Very curious.
What a flex to be able to make a quadruple change in the derby.
Yeah, I think very curious that when we talked about Ten Hag putting on Garnacho and McTominay, Garnacho, let's not forget, is 18 years old. He puts them on with a half hour left. We all say, all right, he's kind of done with this game. But then to put the guys that you might have expected on 20 minutes later anyways, I think is a little odd.
So you got Milner's on for Fabinho, Firmino's on for Nunez, Jota's on for Gakpo, and Bajeta is on for Henderson. So, wow, absolutely incredible. Liverpool bullying some of the comments there. What is going on? 5-0. This is just crazy. I mean, Liverpool are just flying, absolutely flying. And
how? No, go ahead. Well, okay. So look around Anfield right now. Anfield looks like Anfield. Not that it had gone, but after. So Joe, we did the Real Madrid watch-along, and Anfield was not Anfield that night after the first 15 or 20 minutes of that game. And I had a little questions about, like, they're never going to stop supporting. But are they going to drive and really just urge this team on forward to the end of the season? And after a game like this, as much belief and confidence as it gives the players, it's just an injection of life and energy back into the fan base and the stadium as well. And now they can absolutely sense, and they can look at Spurs and what Spurs are doing, and they can look at Newcastle and what Newcastle are doing and say, there's no reason that we shouldn't be top four. And it feels like Anfield, if required, it might not be, but Anfield will get Liverpool over the line to finish in the top four this season, because it is just, I mean, this is what you expect from a place like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out for Man United, sort of, is it the squad's too thin, overconfidence, a mixture of everything, catching Liverpool on a good day and fired up and everything's going in for them, as Salah's gracing in on goal, but looked like he was pulled back there a little bit. But Alexander-Arnold comes in, slides in, takes the corner flag out of the game. Bruno Fernandes has a little kick as he wants to give him the ball. Fernandes pushes the linesman out of the way there a little bit. It's all getting out of hand. Just a reality check for Manchester United right now. And I don't know. This is just crazy at the moment. And I wonder how damaging this could be for Manchester United, this result, Andy, in terms of the rest of the season. Obviously, we said they look like they're the third best team in the Premier League, but we have to remember how bad things were at the start of the season. They've gone on a great run, been much better defensively. But how damaging could this be for Man United in terms of their pursuit of the FA Cup, Europa League, and finishing the season off as that undoubted third best team in the Premier League? Because they want to have positive momentum going into next season, building, and then having the title race next season for United. But this is the kind of result that fans, players, staff, everyone will remember for a very long time.
Yeah, I still think they're mostly fine, but I do worry that, an injury to Casemiro and it could all fall apart. An injury to Fred and it might fall apart a little bit for this team, or an injury to Rafael Varane and it could very quickly fall. So with the lack of depth that they have, the inability to rotate, all of the games that they've got, there's definitely a world where that happens. But at the same time, I think if they can avoid those injuries, then what Ten Hag has established, there's a discipline at Manchester United now that has been lacking in recent years, and I think they will be able to look at this result and see it as, yes, it's 5-0 in the end, but on most days this is a 2-0, 2-1, 3-1 kind of defeat, and it doesn't look as ugly. And I think that they have, or he has at least, a maturity to be able to tell them, let it go.
Oh, Mohamed Salah takes his shirt off, celebrates. So we've got 2 goals for Nunez, Gakpo, and Salah each. Is 6-0.
Wow.
To Liverpool.
He's been doing stair climbers.
And this is just
with the ball just pinballing around in the penalty area. That kind of goes to my point there, though.
And David has 0 saves today. 0 saves. Yeah. He's done nothing.
There's a combination of things, right? It's just catching Liverpool at a bad time. I'm intrigued to see the reaction we get from Manchester United after this terrible second half. There's no doubt it's been bad, but let's not forget, in the first half, they had 2 or 3 really big chances. And of course, let's not forget, Mohamed Salah is now the Premier League all-time leading goal scorer for Liverpool. He's overtaken Robbie Fowler's record. So that explains that incredible celebration. So well done to Mo Salah. So you see the replay for this. Firmino, Jota buzzing around the 2 subs. Oh, is a possible offside here? VAR check. It's Firmino's left foot offside. I think they might take this one back. I think this might be ruled out for offside, gents. So
McTominay's going to get McTominay's going to get a talking to after this, by the way.
Let's wait and see. I think Salah knows what's happening here. Is the goal standing? We're still waiting.
I dislike that this is where we're at with offside and video review.
Salah got a yellow card for taking his shirt off, so it stands. It stands. There we go. Wow. Absolutely incredible scenes. I can't believe what we're seeing here.
Well, I said 4-3, so I had 7 goals in this game. I just need 1 more, and I was sort of right.
You were right on, yeah. Let me be the one to try to take the affirmative position when it comes to Manchester United. I think what Andy said about a half hour ago, it's very hard to look at 6-0 right now and watch these guys sub off. But let's go back to about a half hour ago, and we're talking about the comeback they had to make against West Ham. We're talking about the League Cup, which required a lot of resolve. And then the Barcelona over 2 legs. Let's also forget that's Barcelona twice in a week, right? I think that if Ten Hag's doing the job we think he's doing, that this lives in the fans' minds a hell of a lot longer than it stays with most of these players.
Absolutely. And what we got, 5 minutes to go. It could be a few more. Could be a few more here because Man United just keep pouring forward and they're not really showing any signs of damage limitation. They're actually going for it. So this is going to be really intriguing, lads, to see.
You're in bad shape, Joe, whenever you're in one of the, and unfortunately you and I have both been in this situation, whenever the Premier League camera operator knows he needs to get the ISO shot of the scoreboard to frame what's going on, you're on the wrong end of something. Well, better make sure everyone knows it says 6-0 in the stadium too.
Oh, 100%. 100%. So yeah, a lot of the shots now are on Erik Ten Hag and his very dour expression, and rightly so.
Joe, let me frame the United question to you this way specifically, based on how do United respond to this? How do they come out of this game? Their next Premier League game is against Southampton. Does that make you feel better or worse for Saints, the fact that you get United potentially down in confidence or looking to respond? And because I think that'll answer a lot of questions about where United go from here, right?
Yeah. I'm a bit concerned for Southampton next weekend, I have to say, to be the team that, Real Betis.
So you back them to bounce back?
Yeah, I would. I've seen enough in the last few months that if they've had the odd bad result, was it they lost to Arsenal at the Emirates and played pretty well in that one, but we've seen reactions from them at certain times since the start of the season when it seems like Eric Ten Hag has figured out how to get. But maybe this is a situation that we're talking about. Maybe the squad just isn't quite big enough right now. So is it now time to rotate in Sancho and Garnacho to start? Obviously, the Eriksen injury is looking pretty big at the moment. We did say Fred had been playing well, but it's caught out today. And they played a lot of games, a lot of big games recently, a lot of cup ties, a lot of cup finals, obviously, with last weekend. So seems like it's all just catching up for Liverpool. Maybe this is just a one-off, a perfect storm. Liverpool on the up, given their recent results. Man United just a little bit tired and jaded. But, yeah, you can see the comment there. I don't feel bad about this. I honestly don't. Our boys need a break. And I think that sums it up perfectly from Sir Alex, it would seem, is joining our Watchalong here. So we saw him in the stands at Anfield.
He's just tapping away.
7. It's 7-0. Bobby Firmino.
Guys, I'm rooting for numbers now. I'm rooting for numbers.
Oh my goodness me.
We have 3 Liverpool players on braces, and if Firmino can get another goal here in the next few minutes, we could have 4. And I've never seen anything like that, so that's what I'm rooting for.
De Gea still hasn't made a save, right?
Oh, dear. I'm seeing this here. There's fans jumped onto the pitch to celebrate, and it looks like he's slid into Andy Robertson and taken him out. Or somebody has. Robertson slipped over.
Curtis Jones is hurt too, yeah.
Yeah. Jurgen Klopp's having a go at the pitch invader. That can't feel good for the pitch invader. He thinks he's joining the celebrations, but he looks like he might have injured a Liverpool player, and Jurgen Klopp screaming and shouting at him. So just to show you, why on earth would anyone run onto the pitch? I just don't get it. But Firmino, in the week that we know that he is going to be moving on in the summer, right? He's not going to sign a new deal at Liverpool. Nice for him to get a goal there and another big game for Liverpool. But the ball goes wide to Salah, ball into the box. Firmino turns and squeezes it home somehow. And again, just more shambolic defending from Manchester United there. Varane, half-hearted attempt to clear it. And I cannot believe this. This is a Manchester United team who've been absolutely sensational in recent months. And Liverpool haven't been great. Let's be honest. They've been labouring to wins. They've been going back to basics. And this win for them, they're in the box again. Trent's gone down in the box, looking for a penalty kick from Luke Shaw. Oh, my word. Andy, try and sum this up for me right now, because I'm really struggling with this Manchester United performance and where on earth this has come from.
I mean, there is no other explanation than completely out of gas, right? Like, that it just keeps happening every time down the field for Liverpool. And United maybe being a little bit naive, because you said a few minutes ago, Joe, they are continuing to just try to attack, and they think obviously they know they can't get themselves back into this game, but for some reason they keep leaving themselves quite exposed and open with big spaces at the back. These are not hard goals that Liverpool are scoring. These are just ball into the final third, someone makes a run, slip a through ball past, and then 2 or 3 or 4 white shirts inside the penalty area stand around, try to kick the ball, miss the ball. Somebody somehow gets it under David De Gea, who still hasn't made a save in this. It's just, everything that could possibly go wrong seems to be going wrong every time down the field for Manchester United. And on the Firmino point, really cool there of Trent Alexander-Arnold to, pointing at Firmino in front of the cop, like, celebrate this guy, celebrate him, and just, everything that he's done for the club in recent years was a really, really cool moment there.
It's easy to say. Sorry, I was going to say it's easy to say in a game that's 7-0, Joe. But honestly, Firmino's probably been underused, if anything, this year. I don't think he's that far down from his most effective days.
Oh, Fernandes whips in a free kick to the back post, but they clear it. And there's some shots of the Man United fans there. They didn't seem to be too bothered about this defeat, probably because they're much further ahead of where they thought they'd be this season at this point in the campaign. So still not nice to lose to your rivals like this as Liverpool come on the attack again. Diogo Jota played in down the left. He's cutting in one-on-one with Diogo Dalot. Cuts inside. Good tackle from Dalot. But Liverpool have got about 6 players in the box. They are hungry for more right now. as we enter the final moments of stoppage time. All right, that's a perfect opportunity then to ask you, Andy, for your man of the match. Who stood out? A lot of contenders from a Liverpool perspective, but anyone in particular? And this helps me because I'm writing the player ratings for Pro Soccer Talk at NBCSports.com. So fire away, mate.
Salah, 2 goals, 2 assists in this one, but even beyond that, he has just been the constant danger man, and he's looked like Mohamed Salah at his best. And I think when Liverpool, have doubt or they need to turn to someone, he still can be that player for them. And I think that's so important to know that your star player, your talisman, your leader is still that guy in a game of this magnitude. So for me, it's Salah, but just barely. And he's done a great job of getting Nunez and Gakpo involved as well. And so maybe I shade towards him just a little bit for that too.
Definitely. I'll go with Salah. It's difficult to say otherwise with the goals and assists and just the way he's always wanted the ball throughout this game. But special shout out, I think Van Dijk and Henderson have been excellent throughout the spine of the team as well. Just winning the ball back. Henderson in particular gets a lot of criticism, but great cross in for which goal was it now? I'm trying to remember. Nunez's header and just phenomenal. Yeah, exactly. I'm running out of hands here, Nick. I need an abacus. So I think it's just a phenomenal day for Liverpool. You could pick any of their forward or midfield players, really, because they've dominated the game. But, it was only 1-0 up until, just before half-time. It was 1-0 then. So Man United were in this, but an incredible collapse and just an incredible purple patch for Liverpool. Nick, who are you going with as the full-time whistle goes and Jurgen Klopp and Erik ten Hag shake hands? Who is your man?
Yeah, it's Salah. He was fouled 6 times in this game. That's even Jack Grealish is like, get that guy some Band-Aids. Like 6 times.
Oh, absolutely. All right, let's get some of your comments here to finish with for joining us today. All right, if you're a United fan, don't mind the haters. 7-0 is terrible, but our boys had this coming. Too many games, no time to rest or really practice, and Liverpool was in top form. That's pretty fair enough. I've never seen a more thorough evisceration in my life than this match.
I have.
By Liverpool.
I'm a
Southampton fan. I've seen a few bad ones over the years, so don't at me, please. This is madness, Dan. Yeah, that's fair enough. Man of the match, Sean, says David De Gea. Bit of banter there. Eric Han, is Robbo hurt? No, he's good. He carried on. He's all good after that. Richard Seward says, bloody brilliant. United needed this humbling. Okay, fair enough. Obviously a Liverpool fan there. And Dan says, chances of winning the Premier League are completely out the window now. I think that's safe to say from Man United. But still looking like they're going to be in the top 4. Chris also said, waiting for Alisson to score now. He can't now. It's full time, Chris. But no excuse for 7 goals, SC Python. This is simply ridiculous. Players who get paid in millions should not give up so easily. That's the big problem for me, I think, about this one. You can collapse in certain ways, but United just kept going forward. And it was almost like at the start of the season when they lost to Man City, what was it, 6-3 in the end? They got some kind of pride back in that one, but that could have been 8 or 9. And so could have today, really. So there's something about this United team which we thought they were fixed, but still partly broken when they're under pressure. And maybe tiredness, perfect storm, all the rest of it. But people are saying every ball dropped to Liverpool's way. That is why a team is having 22 players from baseline.
Are we going to get 7 of these from Klopp, do you think? Does he have that in his head?
Oh, we're waiting to see the fist pump here.
It's got to be 7, right?
Yeah. All right. Good question here. Kind of to focus on our takeaway, sort of what we learned about Liverpool and what we learned about Manchester United. As Jurgen Klopp has got a big old smile on his face and he's going towards the Kop. He's waving. Here come the fist pumps. I think he's giving it. Oh, no, he's shaking. He said, oh, no, here he comes. No fist pumps today, apparently. All right. He's let the fans down there a little bit, but maybe he's cranking it up, maybe cranking up the noise a bit. He's playing with the crowd, but maybe he's just trying to save these for later in the season when they can seal a top 4 finish in the Premier League. But good question here. for Liverpool. Does this performance mean Liverpool are certain to be in the top 4 now, guys? What do you guys think? Andy, do you want to go ahead with that? Because they are 3 points behind 4th place Tottenham, and they have a game in hand now on Spurs. So it's looking pretty ominous for the other teams there that Liverpool are going to finish in the top 4.
Yeah, certain. I wouldn't quite say so yet because for as good as this performance was, we've seen just about equally as bad from Liverpool this season. It does feel like they have figured out a way of playing that is a bit more sustainable, and it's not quite the high pressing. It's not quite what they've been in recent seasons. They did a good job. So I know this is hard to do, but let's go back to before it became 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, and remember how Liverpool were playing during that period of the game. They were still playing well. They were controlling the game in a way that Liverpool teams don't do. And I think we shouldn't forget that part of it just because then things got out of hand and they were able to run up the score and the game got wide open and it looked like Liverpool that we've come to know over the years. They did a good job of controlling that game. And so I think if you can do that against this Manchester United team, what we've seen from them in recent weeks, then I think that translates to against just about anybody else in the Premier League. And so I would probably make them favorites right now. But at the same time, we've seen them have dips and we've seen them have high. Like Joe, you and I, in the space of 12 days, have done Liverpool 2-5 against Real Madrid at Anfield, and Liverpool 7-0 over Manchester United, also at Anfield. And so, like the gulf between their best and their worst is still very, very extreme. And so, until they can find that consistency and that middle ground in between the two, then I'll say they're favorites. But it's not a certainty for me.
Yeah, I think they're going to do it now. I think defensively they've got things figured out. What's that? 5 clean sheets in a row, 4 wins out of the last 5 in the Premier League. So they figured it out clearly what to do. But there were still some hairy moments in the first half when Rashford missed that chance and Bruno Fernandes was allowed to have a header from the back stick that just went wide. So could have been different. But I think this game in particular, the big moments went for Liverpool and they built confidence. The crowd was going crazy. And they just made the most of some really poor Man United defending. And maybe on a couple of goals, the ball bounced to Salah and others in the right position and they stuck it away. But, for Salah, Gakpo and Núñez to score 2 goals each, Firmino to add another, that's massive for Liverpool going forward because we talk a lot about the midfield and the defence and those struggles. But for a lot of this season going forward in the attacking third, they haven't looked as devastating and as clinical as they have in past seasons. But this will do that forward 3 the world of good confidence-wise between now and the end of the season. And they finally figured it out. I think the movement, the runs, the combinations of those 3 up there, that you could see what Liverpool wanted to do. And it's kind of coming to fruition now. So this is a massive statement win for Liverpool. Can do nothing but give them huge confidence for the rest of the season. I think it'll still be close. I think Newcastle and Tottenham will push them all the way, and it'll be really, really tight because I said a few of those defensive issues did crop up for Liverpool, and I do have some concerns about their depth, especially in central midfield. But I still think they will finish in 4th place in the Premier League and maybe even 3rd and pip Manchester United. Nick, what's your thoughts on Liverpool?
No, I was just going to say it flashed across the screen, and now I think it's coming up in the comments section. And as much as I like to say you can brush it off, and I'll tell you, you can brush it off, and I'll mean it. This is the worst loss in Manchester United history in the Premier League, 7-0. And sometimes I think that should be washed away as well. But for some reason, those are the sort of things that stick. They really seem to stick. And that's why it'll be really interesting because Erik ten Hag, when a couple times they shot to his face on the sideline, and I wouldn't want to be in that room today. I wouldn't want to be in that room tomorrow. I wouldn't want to be in that room on Tuesday. When do they play against Thursday? Want to be on the plane on Wednesday if they're home or away? I didn't check yet, but yeah. I don't want anything to do with Erik ten Hag's response.
Yeah. So let's focus on Manchester United. And what did we learn about them today, Andy? Because as we said, we've seen them come back throughout this season, different times, had reactions. At the start of the season, it looked like Erik ten Hag could be on his way out, and there was no reaction whatsoever to those damaging defeats. But now we have seen reaction throughout the season. It's just, this is different level. I mean, we didn't see this coming. Again, multitude of factors. For the first half, they were okay and had some good goal scoring opportunities, but to collapse the way they did in the second half tells you A, they haven't been rotating the squad enough. B, there are still some issues there from a maybe togetherness standpoint, that they're looking around and no one's really leading the team in that kind of situation. And C, they just caught Liverpool on a hot day, and sometimes this can happen in football. So going forward, though, this is massive now, right? Because they have to make sure that they don't nosedive and that they still finish in the top four. And now Liverpool are gaining momentum. Newcastle and Tottenham are still around. I still think they'll finish in the top four, but as I mentioned, I think Liverpool could be able to catch them now and close that 7-point gap.
Yeah, it's going to come down to how much strain Europa League puts on them, and that's what I come back to right now. In the span of 15 days, they've played 2-2 away to Barcelona. They hammered Leicester in the league, 2-1 against Barcelona, League Cup final against Newcastle, FA Cup against West Ham, and now that is just with 3 days in between every single game, off to Barcelona and back. It's a lot to ask, I think, of any squad that has depth. And then so for me, all today does is highlights that there is, outside of the wing positions, I guess, because you've got Sancho and Garnacho who can come in and be fine enough. There is no depth anywhere in this squad. Scott McTominay had to come off the bench to replace Fred, because Fred was, one, having a quite a poor game, but also Fred has played, I think, every single minute of all of those games that I just mentioned there as well. And so Casemiro not being at his best, I think it highlights how important he has been for them this season when he, whether out of gas or just poor performance, or everybody else's level dropped, and it puts so much responsibility onto him. It's almost like if they had Casemiro the last couple of years, where the team was just so dysfunctional and couldn't even operate for itself. If you had dropped Casemiro into there, it might not have looked too entirely different than it did those seasons. So I have questions about them, but I don't think it's any new questions. I think we've seen teams play the same 11 players week in or twice a week, week in and week out in recent years. And eventually, no matter how good it is for a time, once it drops, it disappears. It's not a slow and steady drop off. It's a complete drop off. So to be expected, I think at some point they would have just an absolute no-show of a performance. But the fact it was against Liverpool, the fact it was in the derby, and the fact that it became 7 goals, and Liverpool needed a moment like that, I think like every little factor or excuse that you could say for this game, I think all of those things add up together, and you get a result like this. So they can still come back from this. I think they're still the third best team in the league if they avoid all injuries, but they're limited. I think we learned today their ceiling is not quite as high as we thought it was, but they're still comfortably a top 4 team.
Yeah, the comment there, CR7 must be loving this. There's a bit of irony there with the 7. A lot of those comments coming up. But just with the 7 theme to continue, that is United's joint heaviest defeat alongside 7-0 losses to Wolves, Aston Villa, and Blackburn Rovers in their competitive history. Is their worst ever Premier League defeat. And for Liverpool, they recorded their biggest ever competitive win against Manchester United. So a marquee day for Liverpool, a day to forget for Manchester United, and just absolutely incredible to witness that demolition job. And it was like the old Liverpool were back, and the Man United we've seen over the last few seasons were back, and they crumbled. So we'll learn a lot about these teams and the impact of this game. But gents, it's a pleasure to join you both today for this watch along for one of the craziest games we're going to see in the Premier League this season. And all that's left for me to say is thank you to everyone for watching, for all your lovely comments and questions throughout. It's been a pleasure to chat with you throughout this big win for Liverpool. You can see, I can't quite believe the scoreline on the bottom of the screen there. Liverpool 7, Manchester United 0. And head over to Pro Soccer Talk at NBCSports.com. You can see it on the bottom of the screen there for all the latest video highlights, reaction, analysis, player ratings. We'll have you covered over on PST from this monumental win for Liverpool. Looks like it's going to be a massive one for them in their battle to finish in the top 4 at the end of the season. Let's see how Man United react. This has been a lot of fun. We're doing more of these watch-alongs between now and the end of the season. But thanks, Nick. Thanks, Andy. Thanks, everyone, for watching. And we'll speak to you all very soon indeed. Cheers, guys.